I was in such a good mood. Such a good mood.
Me too.
And then returning from the weekend, Armin Sarian drops that in as it's a Boston Celtics championship Tuesday. It's a I need some tickets Tuesday. John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian. John, I'm sorry. Maybe I don't have the affinity for the Red Auerbach Celtics like many people do. I don't think we needed to hear that right away. Here, as the Celtics are celebrating a title last night, banner 18. Come on, Armin. That's how you welcome yourself into the week.
That's what happened.
Announce my presence with that one.
They won the NBA championship. I'd have put something in there. What do you want me to put? Jason Tatum's canned, corny responses, right, John? I mean, what am I going to do?
You could have just put all the bleeps that Jaylen Brown said as he won the Finals MVP last night.
I don't know who was in the truck or the booth or whatever, but that boy working the dump button. That was the most exciting part of it. I was like, I don't know who's back there, but they're working that dump button. That dump button's getting a workout. It's like everything was getting paused, and I was like, man, did my volume cut out? Nope, the dump button. That's what it is. I was like, yes, somebody's working hard back there.
God bless that delay rebuilding.
Someone in the truck is pumping their fists. I got all of them, boys. I got all of them.
More importantly, impressive how that delay rebuilds.
They have
like that quickly.
That's what I thought about too. They got something better than I do. Let me tell you, because I'm like, how did they get it back that fast? Sorry, a little inside baseball there.
All gas.
Good to be back.
No
guys.
break.
Good to be
Welcome back, Armin Sarian.
Thank you,
John. We missed that kind of heat.
I am back. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Feels good.
Well, boy, you got your own little walk-up bump promo. Is that what you're saying here? It's easy to get that accomplished. You know,
he's like a pro wrestler. He's the pro wrestler on the show. He's got his own entrance music and everything.
I thought about
that's what I'm talking about.
I thought about putting something larger together, but I thought it'd be a little self-indulgent, not the best use of my prep time. So
what'd you use your prep time on? Just curious.
You'll know at 11:15. 11:15, I might or might not have a new bet out there for Coons Can't Miss.
Okay, so
that's something.
All right.
Okay.
And that Red Auerbach cut, I found it.
Well, you were 1 for 2.
Damn.
Man, you worked hard.
It was 1 for 2.
Good hard work there.
Well, and we had our show call. You know.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
And Trey on at 10 o'clock.
What?
Booked. You know, we're booked on
that
Trey.
Was a tough book.
It's every week, but yeah,
it
go
was
ahead.
A tough
Good
book,
job.
Though.
Take the flowers for that one.
Well, you underestimate that confirmation text that I have to get.
Did you grab that Charles Barkley potentially hanging it up from NBA TV?
Well, I do have that audio.
Okay,
but
we're working.
Do you have it ready? Let's play it now. Let's see how close you have it.
It's ready right now, right? Because you said you had it.
I didn't think we were using it right away.
Oh, okay. So it's not ready.
No, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not ready. But John, last night the Boston Celtics were ready. Man, they were ready to pounce. They were ready to finish that thing off. There was no hesitation from start to finish, and more than anything, super anticlimactic last night as the NBA broadcast on ABC basically did 2 hours of filling once that game was decided pretty early.
Yeah, my take from the 2024 NBA Finals is going to be me.
It happened.
It looked like it was going to be so good. The Mavs played so well in the Western Conference, battling through, a 7-game series, then taking the T-Wolves down. I mean, they looked so impressive. You thought you were going to get a matchup of two, dynamic duos, and it turned out only one duo was actually dynamic, and that was the duo of Tatum and Brown, who have done, a couple things. When you start really meshing stats together so that you can say, well, they're the only duo to ever to do that in Celtics playoff history.
Yeah.
And with all that said, they have won, 17 or 18 NBA finals now. And now it's one of those. Yep. And now it's one of those things where, okay, well, I guess it is pretty impressive for a team that's won 18 NBA championships. Yeah. You're going to start talk about the stats that they did, but man, it was boring. It was boring NBA finals. I'm glad we got 5 games. Probably could have ended in 4. Yeah. I'm glad we got 5 games. Probably could have ended in 4. The games were boring. There was a little excitement. Fourth quarter of game 2, but the games were meh. And then you got the coverage, which was even more meh.
Geez.
The ABC, ESPN coverage with Stephen A. Smith and JJ Redick and the rest of it was just boring. And they did nothing to enhance the viewership of this whole thing. So
Sure.
yeah, it was a boring NBA Finals. Not a whole lot that I'm going to take away from this damn thing. And I'm glad I watched House of Dragons and got
Ooh,
episode
okay.
1 in for season 2.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I'm
That's
glad I did.
something to
I
build
could
off
not
of.
wait for first pitch last night. Brewers
did.
and Angels started
I
at
love
like
that.
8:40, and it was right after Peyton Pritchard hit the half quarter, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm really okay. It's a 20-point game. I'm listening to this place freak out. I'm seeing everything online. I'm probably going to be okay. That being said, I watched the final 8 minutes, and then I watched all the celebration, and then I threw up in my mouth a couple of times in arm, and then I went to bed. It really was one of those. John said meh, and that's very apropos. It started with being outdone by a storyline in the offseason, right? Like, I mean, game 1 of the NBA Finals, the Hurley news breaks. And I don't know about you guys. I wanted to hear more about, is Dan Hurley going to take this Lakers job, than I really did even about game 1. And it may have happened because there was a 10-day layoff before the final started. It may have happened because Boston was just better than everybody else in the NBA this year, and they prove it and they earn it and they win the championship, and congratulations to them. But it really was a finals you were waiting for to kind of get started, and then it was over and you were kind of glad it did, Armin.
It felt more like work watching that finals than anything else we've ever done here, I think, at least for me on this station.
Sure.
Like I never, like, we watch sports kind of for a living in a way, and we talk about them, right? It never feels like work to watch sports, but that one did for some reason. I don't know.
It was a grind.
And you're talking to a guy that used to live for the NBA Finals. You know that. And I hate to be this guy because, you know, Billy, I'm always trying to check myself to make sure I'm not this guy, because you know my reverence for 90s sports. You know my reverence for 90s NBA Finals coverage.
Certain team in the 90s.
So I'm always trying to check myself and say, don't be that guy. Like, don't just give into your primacy bias. Make sure. Is this as good as last? Was that really as good as you remember? Or maybe this is just as good, but it's new, so you're not remembering it as a memory. But I'm sorry. I used to think of the finals. It used to be so much pageantry and kind of drama and the setup, the story. It just didn't feel any of that. And I'll say this. It's the first time I really found myself rooting for JJ Redick to get the Lakers job, because I go, he can't be on that set anymore. He can't be on the broadcast.
He's got to go. You got to go.
Please give JJ Redick the job, Jeannie. We do not want to hear him on the broadcast anymore. I feel bad saying that because he's a broadcaster, and I will never reach the heights of broadcasting that JJ Redick will reach. I admit that, but please give me somebody else. It didn't seem like he even wanted to be there, guys.
Yeah.
You're broadcasting the NBA Finals. Get excited about it. We get it, JJ. You think you're smarter than everybody else. You don't have to not have fun doing it. So
you could enjoy the fact that you're on the NBA Finals.
That's just what it felt like, guys. So you're right, John. Even in, what was it, in game 3, there was the comeback. Was it game 3 or game 2? I'm blanking now. The big Mavericks
game
comeback.
3. Or no, when they were at home, right? And then they nearly pulled it off when they were down 20.
Yeah. So only time of drama.
That was the fourth quarter
comeback.
Fourth quarter comeback.
That's the only sort of drama we had, because even when Dallas won their game, it was a 40-point blowout. So it is what it. Hey, the great story about the great veteran Al Horford getting his title.
Yeah, awesome.
Nobody's thinking about Al Horford getting this title. So that's just a lot for me.
To be honest, Al Horford could have had 4 titles, and he could have had no titles. He's bounced around. He's been a journeyman. He's 38, 39 years old, and he's a 3-and-D guy, and he always has been.
Yes. And he got 2 titles in college. So let's quit acting like he's never won anything. Won back-to-back titles in college.
Some guys tweet me, he's like, well, at least Al finally got a title. I'm like, what are you, a Florida fan? I don't care.
Yeah, congrats.
First of all, I didn't like him on the Hawks way back in the day when they were beating us. Do you remember those Hawks teams with Josh Smith?
Oh, yeah.
I know you remember
it very, very well. And Joe Johnson didn't miss a shot in those series. Yeah.
So I have no positive feelings for him and Tito, and good for Tito and his dad and everything, Tito Horford. So whatever. I don't care.
It really was. And I like that you mentioned it, of feeling like work, because the job never feels like work.
Never does.
Never feels like work. It was one of those things that last night, while I am watching the Brewers make run outs on the base paths right in front of a Bryce Terang. Yes. I mean, absolute rocket shot, furthest home run he's ever hit in his career. You make 2 outs on the base paths. But as I'm watching that, I feel like we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I definitely should watch this. I definitely should watch more of this. I should be more interested in it. I just couldn't. I just could not be that interested. And congratulations. Again, it's duly noted. They were the best team in basketball, and they ended up winning it. This is, you talk about the early 90s and your reverence for that era. And John, I don't know where you fall in on this, but Tatum and Brown very well could have been in the storylines. Maybe they weren't as likable as Patrick Ewing, but in terms of all NBAs and everything like that, they've been on all NBA first teams, right? They've been a story for better part of a decade going together, all of the playoff games that they had played. It could have been like Ewing in 94, 30 years ago yesterday, trying to finally get his title against the Rockets and obviously falling short with the Knicks, but like there could have been more of a buildup. I don't know that they're not likable. Maybe it's just we've anticipated that they were going to break up so many times.
I think that's part of it, yeah.
But they were pushing that towards the end, and I'm like, man, I feel like this could have been for the last 2 months more of a buildup, and then I maybe would have liked these guys a little bit more for this culminating moment when Jason Tatum's holding up Deuce. But it was
with them being in the East and some of the heartbreak that we've had to their hands in recent years, what was it? A 50 burger, a 60 burger. What did Jason Tatum put up on us in game 6?
46.
I mean,
7 of 13 from 3.
And they were all daggers. Everyone.
Yeah. So the history we have with them makes it so that we don't want to see them take the window that we had open here in Milwaukee with this Bucks team that we thought with our big three was destined to be there for 3-5 years. But we keep talking about injuries as the reason why that window's closed. Maybe that window's closed because the other team took the damn window and swung it wider open. I mean, they are 26. They are 27 years old. I hear the decades worth of playoff games that they have played together. All that says to me is they were really damn good when they were really damn young. Because to play that many playoff games, you got to get in the playoffs, and then you got to advance a little bit in the playoffs. So, yeah, they played a lot of playoff games because they played a lot of playoff games when they were really young. Something that Michael Jordan didn't always make the playoffs his first couple years, right? Yep. Kobe Bryant didn't make the playoffs his first couple years. Shaq struggled in the playoffs his first couple years. Why should we be surprised that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown struggle? And here they are. They're now 27 and they're 26, and they are looking like they are just starting something big there.
Yeah, crazy that's your athletic prime, right? Yeah. And when you walk into that, John, and this is the part of the Celtics run that I think will be interesting to see if the rest of the NBA tries to emulate. Do you try and focus more on patience? Because Brad Stevens had every single talk show, listen, Celtics fans are pulling up every clip possible for the last 3 years of people doubting him, of saying, you got to trade one of the two. These guys can't win together. They can't play together. Is it going to work this time? Is it ever going to work between these two?
Because they've had their share of playoff heartbreak. We forget about it. They have gone.
But they've been to the conference finals. Right. I think 4 years, the second trip to the finals. But
they've done what we have all acknowledged you got to do before you win a championship. You got to struggle a little bit. The Bucks did it starting in 19. Right? The Bucks did it probably in 18. You call 18 a little bit of a struggle bus, but 18, 19, all the way to the championship that they won. But now we're back on the struggle bus. This Celtics team, I don't know, fellas. This one feels different. This one feels like it could be. I'm not going to say it is, because in the NBA right now, we might be out of dynasty mode.
Well, six different champions in a row.
We might be entering a new one.
That's another question.
Entering a new era. 6 different champions, but one of those champions were the Golden State Warriors, so they were technically a repeat.
All right, good point.
That was the end of their destiny or dynasty era there, the Golden State Warriors. So 5 out of the last 6 new first-time champions and going to hold that championship until they win a second. Now, which of those teams do you think is the closest? Do you think the Celtics is the closest to coming back and repeating? Do you think the Nuggets are? Or do you think the Bucks are?
Oh, it's definitely Boston.
Okay.
That's just the reality of it.
Well, they'll be the favorites going in. Yeah, they'll be the favorites going in. And
now let me ask you, a healthy Milwaukee Bucks team all season next year, does that change your mind? Because I've heard, because Trey has said he thinks a healthy Bucks team would have pushed the Celtics team, but he also admitted he didn't think they would win.
Oh, we'd be dogs. We'd be dogs in that series.
I also don't think that this year's Bucks team will be the same as next year's Bucks team.
It's got to be different.
With an entire offseason with an actual coaching staff that you have?
It could be entirely flipped around, Billy. You're absolutely right. There could be moves on moves made here, and you wonder which are the core pieces that stay. not named Giannis and Dame.
Yeah, and that's the part of it, right? Like I think the moves that you're talking about will be a little bit more auxiliary. I think the core is going to be together again, which I am a little bit more excited for, right? Like I want that three of Middleton, Giannis, and Lillard to have an offseason, have a training camp, have an entire season with the same coaching staff.
Dame didn't have that,
with the understanding all offseason long that this is who's going to be playing. Now, maybe you make a move and you change out bigs, maybe you add a couple of different wings, this, that, and the third. You are going to have to try and get creative because of the lack of resources you have. But I just think that to me is the appealing part. When Dame's talking to Doc Rivers, and Doc's saying it on Bill Simmons' podcast, he's like, "Coach, to be honest with you, it didn't work out.
I didn't work out at all.
I didn't do it. Like I wasn't ready." That part of me is excited to know that this team is going to be more ready, healthier, and hopefully Greece gets bounced out in like 3 games. We can get Giannis back stateside. He can get healthy, and then everybody's off, ready to roll when we get to training camp in September.
You know what? As good as the Celtics look, and as much as they look equipped to keep winning titles, they looked at equipped in years past and didn't do it. So you never know what's going to happen. Upsets happen all the time in the playoffs. They've happened to us.
Or
they've happened to Boston. You know,
injury to one of their more.
They could go into injury situation.
Or they could get healthier, and Porzingis could play an entire season and actually be ready to roll when playoff time comes around. You don't know, and that's why this next year for the NBA is going to have a lot of question marks. Like, who is coaching the Lakers, and what moves do they make as well?
Yeah, and what other broadcast pairing can ESPN throw in together? Because that will now, after they decided to blow up one of the longest running finals broadcast teams of Breen, Van Gundy, and Jackson. They've now had to change it twice because Doc Rivers, remember, was supposed to be calling the NBA finals in place of JJ Redick, but then a certain job came calling and they changed it up right away. 414-799-1973. Which one could be a little bit closer? I mean, John just asked it out of those 3 teams that just most recently won it: Boston, Denver, Milwaukee. Make your case for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Or is there another new?
Yeah.
Or is there, what about OKC?
They could be the
about
7th.
Minnesota. Everybody was hot.
I can't believe I'll say Minnesota, but what about Minnesota?
That could be the 8th. I mean, and the thing is, are we happy with that? Because for a long time, people didn't want dynasties anymore. When dynasties were big, everyone's like, I would love to see parity in this league. See, we always complain about whatever we don't have, right, in sports.
The other problem is I still don't feel a darn thing for the East. I don't feel anything for the Knicks. I don't feel anything for the Sixers, the Celtics, or our Bucks. That's all I see.
Oh, you don't feel they'll be good? You mean? Okay.
I don't.
I didn't know what you meant.
No, I didn't say good. I said championship.
I
don't feel anything of a championship for those teams. But man, I could see Minnesota doing it. I could see OKC doing it. I could see Denver doing it again. Yeah.
We like to immediately throw away the teams that were just most recently the favorites. The Denver Nuggets were all season long. No one's gonna be able to beat Denver.
No, they're the defending champions.
Get out of the second round.
Don't you remember? They're the defending champions. Come on, don't you remember? Jokic will do it all.
It'll be fascinating to watch, and we'll end up waiting a somewhat significant amount of time before the NBA season is back. But then all of a sudden you'll blink and be like, wait a second, they're 25 games in already? Yep, that's what happens on Christmas. You realize you've missed about a quarter of the NBA season, and that might be the best Christmas present you can get because those first 25 games can be a tough watch. 414-799-1973. It's John Kuhn, it's Armin Sari, and it's Billy Schmid back in the saddle again. It's 9 to noon, and we got an update on Nooner Day that you're not going to want to miss around the corner, 9 to noon on the game. All right, nothing stops Red Hot Tim Scott from working on it. Not vacation.
He's always working on it.
John, not being in the middle of the Northwoods with 0 reception, driving through on a potential spare on the RV as they're, weaving through the heartlands of America. I don't know exactly where they are, but he's working on it. And yesterday we were told
he got it done.
We were told that link wasn't working. He got it done. There is an extension on the Nooner Day link through midnight tomorrow night. Nooner Day 5 tickets. I just retweeted it at Bill Schmid Radio. It's at 9 noon on Twitter.
I'm working on it.
There we go. A baby boss at Coon J30 is how you follow John Coon. I'm sorry, you know the name, you know the handle too.
I'll retweet the link as well. And but this is very important, Nooners. Okay, we are reaching the 300 mark.
Yeah,
and it's like this: you have until midnight Wednesday or until the 300 is sold. I mean, that's one of the two. Yep, that's the truth of the matter. So you procrastinated this long. We had people requesting yesterday. Don't wait until 11:55 on Wednesday night to go and do this thing, because they could all be sold.
And make sure, exactly. Make sure you get it done, because you don't want to get that call next week early thinking, hey,
Mama's on the phone. Mama's on the phone.
You don't want to get that call and say, like, is it time? I want to get these tickets now. Like, I'm sorry, they're all sold out. You should have told me last week.
Mama's on the phone.
Yeah, well.
Mama's on the phone.
Sorry,
who's Mama in this situation?
Can't remember what that drops from. Tim was talking about his wife, right? I think.
Yeah. Who knows? It's some sort of trouble.
Man, you guys had fun. That's wild, dude. That's a heck of a time.
Basically, what it was
during the pandemic, my wife and I said, you know what? Let's have some fun.
Yeah, she did say that.
Let's go topless. I mean, he said that all the time.
I think he did. Tops down.
This is what Armin and I basically did. We basically just pushed Tim and Butch to get them to say funny stuff, and then Armin would cut it and use it out of context. That's basically
my
what
wife
we did.
likes a lot of meat.
Well, you guys,
see,
I didn't do it. Well,
no pause.
That's awesome.
I just sat and did my job. I wasn't really too.
The Sassy Sisters from Sauk.
Oh yeah, I remember them. Yeah,
that's a great business model, though. Just see how many weird things we can get you to say, and just make memes of it on radio.
Happy birthday, bitches.
Yeah.
The minute they would say something, I would look at Armin and he would look back at me, and it was almost like Armin and I were like Rogers and Devontae.
Just telepathy.
I didn't need to give him any sign. I didn't need to tell him to switch the post to a fade, right? He just knew to run it. He just knew to execute. I was good. We were on the same page.
It was just on the same.
Awesome.
After all, you get on the same page, and you make sure.
Yeah, you get dialed in, right?
Well, Tim was like a lot of us. He gets very excited about this industry, about what we do.
100%.
And he was excited to be on the air, so he said exciting stuff. You know how it was. Everything was the best, and everything was the best burger.
Generally, yeah.
It's the best tasting popcorn in the USA.
That was off mic, even.
That was, yes. That's right.
So
that wasn't even for show.
That was off air. I'm pretty sure what it was. So
that was just hanging out in the back trying to pump up his popcorn machine.
Yeah.
Anybody use that thing again?
We got to get that thing going again. We need
I
some
told
popcorn.
you how you really crush it. Seasoned salt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, see, and that's the problem.
You get some Lowry's seasoned salt and throw it on that. It'll blow people's mind. But don't tell anybody, because then everybody will be making the same popcorn and it won't taste special. So guys, when you make the popcorn in there, Armin Billy,
I like that.
Yes, Lowry's seasoned salt.
Don't let anybody else in on the. Don't let anybody else.
Don't tell
in.
anybody.
Yep.
Do not tell a person.
I won't say anything, even though you just said it on the radio.
Armin,
but
Armin, don't tell.
No one's listening. Don't worry about it.
Lowry's seasoned salt.
Do you think anybody in the building's listening right now?
Well,
there's hundreds of thousands of Nooners listening. We understand that, but in the building, probably not.
Well, Doug, maybe. See, didn't Doug have special oils? Didn't Doug have? No, I mean for the popcorn. He had
the love muscle. You know the love muscle is coming deep with the oil now. The love muscle is oil all day, every day. Especially the top of that scalp. You know he's oiling that thing up too.
Oh yeah, baby.
You know he is.
No, I mean
suntan oil to get that nice and golden brown.
Doug had some peanut oils or some sort of oils he would use for the popcorn.
KY oils? Is that what you were saying?
No, not those.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Oh man,
I got banged a few minutes ago.
All right.
Yeah, see him and the love muscle. You got to keep them out of the
All right.
Tim. I wonder if Doug was looking at those oils. Now he can like some of them on Twitter because all free and clear.
Oh, you mean the likes are private now? Is that what you meant?
Yeah. I mean, now Doug, whatever kind of love muscle oils, John, that he's looking for, no one's going to know which ones he's
Armin,
finding.
you're going nuts, liking all the stuff that you didn't want anybody to.
I know. I'm liking bad stuff these days.
Yeah,
boy.
all that frisky stuff, all that
yeah.
political stuff. You are letting your wild side go.
ABJ Fox 7496382. When they shoot you one of those replies on your tweet, you know you're hitting that like button.
Oh yeah, first name, bunch of numbers. So these are my followers.
Instantly,
yeah, absolutely.
In link in bio.
Well, I expect to get some more likes now. I think people were just afraid to agree with my content.
Oh, you think?
Oh,
you
really?
think that's what it was?
I think they were just afraid to admit that I was right. By liking the.
So now it's private for people to go.
But
They can't go
is,
look at it, but people know when you like something that they have, right?
I think people. Well, shoot, I don't know how the private liking works. I'm not trusting it. I'm not going with it. I'm not going to start.
Smart.
Well, I'm gonna check.
I'm not going to like something that could
happen.
potentially get me in trouble. I mean, I saw Thirst Trap already on there saying now you can like all you want and your wife will never know. Bull stuff. I'm not liking anything. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to not do a stinking thing because that's it's just a trap.
You watched that Ashley Madison doc. Right. I mean,
I did watch the Ashley Madison.
But for whatever it is, right? I mean, and we're seeing it in sports too. All these cats are like, listen, I can go gamble. No one's going to really know. No one's know. Listen, you do it online and you put either your name or a fake name from a computer that your name is associated with.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They know it's you.
They know it's you. And you're right, John. They're going to find out. What's the point anyway of liking the tweet? It's not going to do anything for you. Now the bookmark is different.
Well, yeah, it might not for you. However, somebody might be very, very happy that you liked it, and then maybe shoot you a direct message.
No, I'm sorry. First name, bunch of numbers, or Jim whatever from wherever with the picture like this as his profile picture. You can like all your tweets she wants.
Boogers in his nose or something.
She's not coming to date you just because you liked her tweet. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Who said I want to date her?
She wants you to click the link.
So what's the purpose of Elon making it private likes now?
Well, I feel like he thinks he's letting everyone engage more on Twitter without people knowing what they're doing.
So do you think Lisa Ann's Twitter account, which is thriving, by the way, is that going to get more likes now?
Well, I don't know.
Potentially because people are like, oh, listen, now no one's going to know that I like the Lisa Ann tweet.
Dumb guys are going to fall into the trap very easily when it comes into thirst, right? They're gonna jump all over this thing. They're gonna be liking all kinds of stuff they would not normally be liking, and they're gonna be dumb. And at some point in time, somebody will probably find a way to know if they're liking stuff. So that would be foolish. Like my mom used to say, if you wouldn't say it or you wouldn't do it in front of me, don't do it.
Well, in John, there's always you guys, we all grew up in the same era where I think when the internet was just really starting to be introduced into everyone's daily life. Remember those warning, things whenever you'd be watching Nickelodeon or ESPN when ESPN.com fired up? It's always ask parent permission to go before going online. There was a section of time where I thought parents should be asking young people's permission before posting something online, because then it'll be less controversial, less arguments, but then it wouldn't be nearly as fun. So I am going to potentially dive in headlong into the private likes of just liking both sides politically going into an election year to just try to spice up everybody's anger at each other. You think that's a good idea?
There you go. That's a great idea.
Right? Yeah, I'm just gassing up everybody. Everybody, come on. Keep speaking your truth.
It's a gaslight here, and definitely it's political, and definitely Elon thinks he's doing it for some special reason. I mean, if you try and figure out what's the purest reason, like what's the reason you would say, well, okay, but you can't really like things with your friends, with your profiles without your profiles being private, because people then see what you like and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's purified. That's not what it's for. Let's be honest. This is that Armin can go on there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't think I'm doing any dirty stuff on Twitter. Okay, guys.
Armin, and by the way,
for Instagram,
this is not going to increase your likes, because there's no way somebody from Providence can sit there and watch you smash Providence and then say, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't agree with you. No, they didn't agree with you because they like Providence.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know how these algorithms are working these days, but they are kind of weird.
As long as it doesn't start, I mean, the algorithms, you watch one crazy video of some insane crash, and then all of a sudden, the most vile things in the world come up for the next 25 minutes. That's what it is.
You know that old For You page.
But then if you send a couple of those to your friends, are those private?
I have no idea. I don't know how it works.
Are you going to get outed with those? That's where the interesting one comes on.
I just
We think we're safe.
Well,
Think
you
we're
out
safe.
there, yep, that's always a screenshot out there. That's all I'm saying.
Everyone's
Stay
watching.
vigilant. Stay vigilant, right?
I'm more excited though for if indeed this goes wrong, John, for the documentary to come out on Netflix. Because at some point, if it goes bad, somebody's going to make a documentary about it that we can all laugh at.
I'm not going to be in trouble because I'm still watching what I like. So
Mike Keller,
they can't get me.
Mike Keller style staff poll question. Who on 97.3 the game doesn't want their likes public the most? Here's one of the four options. I think the four options would go Zabe, Armin. I kind of want to throw Nick in there because I think I could see Nick having some wild stuff, and we already know.
But Nick's unmarried. Nick's unmarried.
That's true. Well, that's true. But he also had Twitter at a younger age and all of it. So who knows what he was like when he was 13 or 14.
Can you imagine stuff like
Get his account hacked one more time.
camera on camera porn?
What?
This is the female end. This is the end. This is the Karma Sutra of
That's true.
lens going onto all that.
You think you look at it, you're like, I have a treasure trove. What is it, guys? It's a bunch of golf tweets and the Canon 9673 Pro.
You just check out
Long
that
lens.
jack.
Look at that lens.
Look
boys.
at that lens, baby. And they say size didn't matter. It's 90 noon statewide. 2 million Armin hanging out with you on the game.
A backdoor plan. A backdoor plan.
9 to noon on the game. As Scooby said, fellas, thanks for the laughs this morning, helping me get through a tough day. Can't wait for Nooner Day. Listen, Nooner Day is going to be electric. And Jason and Wilmot messaged. He said, "Hey, Armin."
Yeah. Hey,
Jason. John Kuhn or Billy had the answer for you, but you just want to address Armin. That's fine.
He wants to talk to me, so take a back seat.
Okay.
So
do you want to tell him that yes, you still can find the tailgate for Nooner Day 5 if you are in a preferred lot?
You can find it. You just got to use those legs and those shoes and walk, man. You just got to walk over to the
parking lot.
I keep mixing it up with the Mauler.
In between pavilion 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Easiest
under
way.
the freeway. Mauler's under the. We're at the Yount lot by the Gantner Pavilions. All right.
You had some Trump fingers going on there for the folks on YouTube having fun.
I didn't mean to do. Like I said, I don't read that. I don't read that part of the paper.
Just kidding.
Anyway, you cross the bridge, Yount lot, and you'll see us there. You'll hear us. You'll probably smell us. Let's be honest. You'll probably smell us.
No pause. I mean, there really is the easiest way is if you're going to park in a preferred lot on Brewers Boulevard, park in the outfield preferred lot. Like you mentioned, right near the sausage house is where you'll park, go up those stairs, and the bridge just takes you to the general lot right behind, and we'll be right there off to the left-hand side by pavilion 6 and 7, doing the show there starting at 9. Parking lots will open just after 10. And again, midnight tomorrow is the deadline. It's been extended. Whether it's midnight tomorrow or the 300 tickets are sold out, that's as long as we're going. So quit asking. That's all we got. And it is, Red Hot Tim Scott did it on his vacation to reopen the window, extend that deadline for another 48 hours, midnight tomorrow, final chance. Before midnight tomorrow, your final chance to get tickets in our special Nooner Day section for our special Nooner Day price of just $14. 9 the number 2 noon. John just said it's at Coon J30, at Bill Schmid Radio. Armin, sorry, you know the name, you know the handle. Now, with the private likes, we don't know that we can pay him enough to retweet the link, but we'll see. Potentially he will. And it'll also be up at 9 the number 2 noon on Twitter, NX, and 973thegame.com/9 to noon. Fellas, a lot of different reaction coming in on the talk and text line, a lot on our light conversation as well. And the camera porn and golf tweets that John brought up definitely getting some run. But there are a couple coming in here still on the NBA Finals, and we're going to talk a lot more finals in about 10 minutes when Trey Crosby joins us from On Your T's and Q's Saturdays here on the game. 928 texter, John. Bucks coming for the Celtics next season, and if healthy, will rip their NBA title away and be crowned champs once again.
Let's go.
But that's a 2-question ask, Armin. That's a 2-question ask. One, can this team, if healthy, the way it is right now, compete with the Boston Celtics right now?
So I believe they can do it.
This team right now.
I don't know.
Not necessarily a revamp, but we know there's pieces coming. Can this team right now compete with the Celtics right now? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. And then 2, can they stay healthy? And what I mean by can is the only 2 pieces that I think are assured to be back in Milwaukee next year, Giannis and Dame. Can those 2 stay healthy?
Well, that's a bigger,
recent history says, I don't know again.
Right. That's a bigger question, Mark, and that's understandable because they haven't. But, part of that is luck, too. I mean, maybe the luck will finally turn around and we'll have all those guys healthy for a playoff run for once.
The health is a bit of a luck factor. It also can be aided by, the condition and everything that you come into.
Absolutely.
The Giannis part, listen, I don't know that you can control that unless they are going to next year, manage, no pause, the load that he takes throughout the season, right? I mean, are they just going to try to load him up on minutes? I doubt it, right? I assume that you see him play less games, less minutes to try and get ready for that run. Because, John, what you're asking is currently constructed, can they compete? I also think that there's a part of it that in 10 months, even if they stay as currently constructed, I think there's a much better version of this Bucks team than we saw all year long. And if it's the best version of this currently constructed Bucks team, I think that's a 6 or 7 game series that absolutely can be, minus 140 Boston, plus 120 Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And that's a very competitive series. And I'll take my chances with, I think, the bigger, big game, big moment shooter of Dame Lillard in those sequences. But they definitely be underdog, right? Like, I think that's the way I'd say they definitely be underdogs, but I'm not convinced that they just get run out of the building like Boston did to every other team, basically, in the NBA playoffs.
I say I don't know because I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't see this currently constructed team healthy all season long. We haven't. We don't know if there is a healthy version of this currently constructed Bucks team with all of Chris Middleton's injuries that he's dealt with, Giannis now at the end of the last few seasons, and then Dame. And I anticipate Dame to be in a lot better shape this year.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, he'll be a lot healthier this year. He talked about it. Doc Rivers has talked about it. That's the one. Honestly, Dame is probably the one I feel least concerned about.
Yeah, I actually do think it's going to be a vengeance year for Dame. I'm very, very excited to see Dame's second year in Milwaukee.
Sure sounds.
Everything that went on in his life last year, everything that was going on off the floor, I'm excited for him to have a clear mind going into 2024-25.
Sure seems like he's looking forward to that, and that's what's coming. When you look at the Instagrams and all that, he's been Instagramming, like, kind of been upset. Like, wait, do you guys see it's coming? Talking about I didn't have the offseason. Obviously, his personal life was kind of complicated in the offseason, had a lot going on. Listen, that stuff is real, and it takes a toll. So we'll see. Those numbers could get back up there. It might become more dominant. I think he still has to learn how to play with Giannis and that flow, because we kind of see him be that more dominant guy when Giannis isn't there. So, like you said, the training camp, the time to spend together, that might make a huge difference. I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm trying to manifest that. You got to believe in, you got to have hope and faith in those things, because that's what makes sports fun as a fan. Is to be a dreamer.
Or is it more fun to be like David and Mequon, who said Middleton, Giannis, Dame, Clippers of the Midwest, hoping for health with an old core. Good luck.
I'm not going there, but even the Clippers have a chance though in the West. Like, you make it. We're asking, are they going to be competitive? There's a lot of great teams and players in this league, and if you're one of them, you're in the mix. That's
Bucks will also be one of the top 5 favorites to win the NBA Finals in 24-25. I feel pretty safe in assuming that they'll be within the top 5 of Oz. We'll have that answer. We'll also have Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's coming up right after this in hour number 2, 9 to noon, statewide on the Game. Well, thanks a lot, Dallas. Didn't allow us to have any more opportunities to play the Underdog Fantasy NBA Pick'em game because they couldn't win more than one game in the NBA Finals, but that's okay. Underdog Fantasy, a fan favorite way to play fantasy sports, finds other ways for you to stay in on the action. Hockey season ain't over. Now, it might be after tonight. Their NHL Pick'em game running for the Stanley Cup final. Game 5 here tonight. Florida going up against Edmonton. We're going to hear from an Edmonton fan coming up. Also, the MLB Pick'em game. Massive favorite in my household. My wife is playing it all the time. And even with these West Coast Brewer games, gives you a little bit more incentive to stay up. Just pick between 2 to 5 players. Build out your Pick'em entry. It's really easy. Select higher or lower on player stats. You can also go higher or lower on scorch statistics, which multiply your odds. The Underdog Fantasy app giving you updates on your stats all night long. It's super easy to manage, super easy to play, even easier to get started. Sign up with promo code Billy, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first Pick'em entry and a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Billy. Claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick and a deposit offer. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. Told you we'd have it for you, and it wasn't going to take long. 24-25 NBA championship odds. John, Armin, you ready for this from Potawatomi Hotel Casino Sportsbook? Plus 325 Boston Celtics, the odds-on favorites. At 7-1, the second highest favorites, the Denver Nuggets. Third highest favorites, all tied at 9-1. So that's plus 900. If people are reading it that way.
Thank you.
The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Let's go.
Second highest odds in the Eastern Conference. Anybody else in the Eastern Conference would be Knicks at 14-1, 14-1 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Heat 25-1. Cavs, you like lighting money on fire. They're at 30-1.
Donation to the Potawatomi there. I mean,
Suns 30-1.
Yeah,
if you want to light some money on fire too.
Tell you one thing, I'm ready to slam that plus 900 for the Bucks right there.
Hey, that might be the best odds that you've been getting in a long, long time to win the Eastern Conference. Plus 120 for the Boston Celtics, plus 400 for the Bucks to represent the East in the finals. 7-1 for the Sixers and Knicks as well. All right, 414-799-1973 is the NicolaLaw.com talk and text line. That is where we find our guy Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's Saturday mornings right here on the game. Also, the Cream City Crossover postgame show all year long during Bucks basketball. Bucks and 60 on the game at 6 o'clock at night. Throughout the week as well during basketball season. And we bid adieu to the NBA season, but we're hanging out with Trey Crosby right now talking about that finals game last night. Trey, you tweeted out that there was not a memorable moment in this NBA finals. I would contend that I imagine the comments did. Brian Windhorst frying Luka Doncic on television might be the most memorable part of this 2024 NBA finals that Boston wins in 5.
Yeah, I think so. You know, some of that. I think Luka fouled out in, game 3.
Game 3, yep.
He fouls out at the end of that one. I mean, yeah, and some of that is just due to the Boston Celtics dominance. Like, it's not like I really wasn't trying to be, a hater there. Just there wasn't that play that, like, you're going to remember, like the LeBron chase down block, like the Valley oop, some of these things that we kind of see and we go, oh man, that's got to go on like the finals montage to tell the story of how the finals went. I mean, this finals, the finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, had like one of the lowest PERs of all time for a finals MVP. I mean, it was team basketball. The Boston Celtics dominated the Dallas Mavericks for the entirety of the series. They went 4-1. There just wasn't like definitive moments. People pointed to the Peyton Pritchard, and I mean, the half court shots. It's cool, but to hit a half court shot to go up 20, that's not a moment. Like, hey, it's a cool shot, but that's not a moment. And that's all. Again, not taking anything away from the Boston Celtics. They're the best team throughout the regular season. They're the best team throughout the playoffs, and they obviously bested the Dallas Mavericks in this in a gentleman's sweep. But we're on to next year, as they say.
All right, on to next year. What do the Bucks do? What do the Bucks have to do in order to keep up with this Celtics team that, hey, you talk about the core, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They are 26, 27. That's just starting to reach your prime for male professional athletes. Where do the Bucks go to try and keep up with this? You heard the odds. They're second in the East, but they're like 5th in the league.
Well, it's kind of hard, when you think about where the Bucks are. At the end of the day, they got to be healthy. Like, that's like the main thing. I think it's kind of tough to kind of judge where the Bucks are in comparison to the Boston Celtics. You can do some throughout the regular season. The Bucks did not look as good as Boston did, obviously, but it's hard to make that judgment when you didn't see Giannis in the playoffs. You didn't see Giannis and Dame together. Dame looked light years better at the start of the playoffs against Indiana than he did throughout the majority of the regular season. So you kind of have that feeling of, okay, maybe I do know what Dame's going to give me in the playoffs. Let's add Giannis to that. And do I really have a 30 a night type of guy in the playoffs in Damian Lillard? And then, Giannis can give me 30 and 12 or whatever he gives me as well. If I have that, you're in a great spot. If not, I think there are some questions. Chris looked good in the playoffs. He's getting a year older. So, I think the Bucks, in my opinion, they've got to just I wouldn't keep chasing older guys. I think that's got to be the key. Like, let's stop chasing these older vets. They've got to get more youthful. They got to get more athletic. And again, I mean, you have to have this feeling that a guy like MarJon Beauchamp, like the talent is there. Like I see it. Can he take a step? He doesn't have to be some great player. Can he be an active member of the rotation? We saw Andre Jackson Jr. He did not get enough playing time throughout the regular season. He's got to be a guy that continues to step up and play and have these just lots of time and get experience on the floor during the regular season. Another guy, energy, athleticism. And then I think the Bucks have really got to look at replacing. I don't know if you can totally replace Brooks yet, but you got to think about what you want to do in that center spot, and you've got to get one of these young, mobile, athletic bigs. I look in the draft coming up here. I look at a guy like Deron Holmes out of Dayton as a guy that could easily play that position. And again, you want one of these 6'11", 7-footers. The difference with Brook right now is he's aging on the athleticism scale. You want a guy that can come. Look what Derek Lively did for the Dallas Mavericks. Look at a guy like a Daniel Gafford, who the Bucks probably had an opportunity to get at the deadline, and they didn't choose to do so. But you want one of those big rim running. You want one of those rim running bigs as well as you can pair with guys like Giannis and Dame, and just got to get more athletic and energetic throughout the entirety of your basketball roster.
What did you make of Doc Rivers' statements on the Bill Simmons podcast talking about Damian Lillard? Now, we had kind of heard Dame had mentioned it a few times that he had taken the offseason quite lightly. Just straight up admitting, he's like, Coach, I wasn't working out. I was holding out to make sure that I was healthy when I got traded. How much of that do you think impacts what they can be and will be in 24, 25? Just understanding who he's playing with, and the, oh, by the way, department of, actually working out in the offseason, getting ready for the season a little more.
That's one of those things where you hold that in the chamber. I think that was a terrible look. I think the best part about that statement is that it came out in the middle of the playoffs or finals or whatever, because that quote came out last week or whatever. Yep. And hopefully people will kind of gloss over it, because I don't think that's a very good look for Damian Lillard at all. I understand trying to preserve yourself. You're going to get traded. I get that. But that's not a good look to say, yeah, I came into camp out of shape and it plagued me throughout the entirety of the year. That's a bad look to me. And you want to know where I go with that? I look at a guy who got this short end of the stick. I'll continue to say it. I don't care. Because again, I was right about Jason Kidd. I'm going to be right about Adrian Griffin as well. You just got to wait and let this thing play out.
Sure.
Adrian Griffin gets the short end of the stick, and I'm looking at and everybody's telling me all this stuff about Adrian Griffin, and he had to go to war with an out of shape point guard through the first half of the year. Maybe that was part of the troubles with the Bucks. I know we talk about scheme and all that, but the guy the Bucks traded for, the star piece that comes in to take over for Drew Holiday, comes into camp out of shape and was not prepared to start the regular season. Terrible.
All right, I look forward to the day. Adrian Griffin's going to win one day. We might be all 85. It would take 40 years, and Trey will say, I told you so. I told you so, guys, right? Trey will be waiting for that moment. That's your. I get it, Trey.
I didn't say he had to win one, just like I didn't say Jason Kidd had to win one.
Of course, you'd love to lower the standard. Yeah, go ahead.
Active year, like Jason Kidd was the worst person to ever pick up a clipboard, and I totally was on the other side of that. I think it's been proven at this point that was totally untrue. And Jason Kidd is that again. He's grown as a coach, but I think we were a little hard on him here in Milwaukee and how his exit went. And again, he's a solid NBA coach. That's all I'm saying. Adrian Griffin's a solid NBA coach that will bear out over the years to come here.
All right, I got it written down. A
couple more things from the finals here. Trey. Jaylen Brown, MVP for the NBA Finals. You cool with that?
Oh yeah, I absolutely. I think he deserved it. I think Jason Tatum, tried to swoop. They were kind of gunning for it at the end to see who could swoop in. Maybe Tatum could take it. I give kudos to the writers. I think the better, if you want to give a quote unquote storyline, is I think everybody sees Jason Tatum as like the leader of the Boston Celtics. But I mean, yeah, you kind of have to question that now with Jaylen Brown winning both of the Eastern Conference MVP and for that the Eastern Conference Finals MVP or whatever that award is called, and the Finals MVP. So that was clearly Jaylen Brown's team, but maybe they kind of really do share it as maybe this is one of the first times we've seen a true duo. I'm gonna say one of the first times, but in recent memory where a true duo is a duo, one not better than the other. And yeah, I think everybody thought Jason Kidd was trolling, and I think he was too when he said that Jaylen Brown's their best player. But it ended up maybe being a fact. Maybe Jaylen Brown in certain circumstances is a better player than Jason Tatum.
It is interesting, Trey. It does feel like it's not even a 1A, 1B type duo. It feels like it's just, hey, they are completely even in how this thing goes. Maybe that's what took so much time with this Boston Celtics team, was to try and figure out how exactly two guys with the exact same impact can coexist together. Do you think the Bucks potentially have that same time frame learning curve with Giannis and Dame?
No, they don't have that same time frame or learning curve. But just to add on to that, it is interesting because I don't know, for a long time, and I have to think about this. For a long time, I kind of felt like Jason Tatum could go to a different team and be a superstar. And yeah, maybe they don't win it, but I think you would take Jason Tatum as your number one on any team, right? I looked at Jaylen Brown as a guy that, yeah, if he was your best player on the team, I don't know how close you're getting to anything. So I think that's why it's kind of weird and kind of hard. I got to kind of reevaluate my kind of thoughts on Jaylen Brown. But yeah, turning to the Bucks, they have to have that already. Again, it's title or bust. Like you talked about earlier, the Celtics guys are young. They're 26, 27, that duo. And, they could maybe lose next year and still be able to come back and win a championship the year after and whatnot. The Bucks have already kind of gone through that. Back in 2021, you thought, okay, here comes the run. The run has not come. It's now going to be, we're going into the offseason of 2025 when the next champion is going to be crowned. So, no, you really don't. I kind of liken this more to what we saw with Kyrie and Luka, where in the first season of Kyrie and Luka together, they epically failed in the playoffs, and they didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't make it.
Didn't make them. Right.
That was a really bad result. They come out the next year and clearly figured it out. Fell a little short, but definitely a successful year for the Dallas Mavericks. So yeah, that's more, I think, alike what the Bucks have to do with Giannis and Dame. They got to figure it out and make a very deep run. I think if and really, you really need to be in the finals to say this is a successful season next year for the Bucks.
But most teams with two great players have to deal with that burden more so than Tatum and Brown did. And I'll continue to contend that. They were blessed more so, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do with a great surrounding cast, to the point where you could have made the case for either of them to win the MVP and said this is one of the worst MVPs of the finals MVPs, because most of the time it takes a great player to propel a team to those heights. And the numbers support that. I mean, Jason Tatum led his team in points, rebounds, assists, didn't win MVP. It must have been a close vote. Jaylen Brown, I don't
7 to 11 or 7 out of 11.
Yeah.
7 to 4.
And Jaylen Brown's, I don't know if you looked at the player efficiency ratings for MVPs. It's the lowest that there's been in the last 30 years. That's not taken away from what Jaylen did or Tatum, because they had a great surrounding cast. But if that group thins out around them, they're going to have to do more individually to propel their team to those heights. And that's not saying they should have this year, because that's not what they had to do. But most teams have to do that, right? So that's, I think, my biggest question going forward for them is if they do keep this, Noah's Ark of a unit where they have everything around them and play and have true contributions from everywhere, they might be able to win more titles this way. But otherwise, Tatum and Brown have to be more consistently dominant in games.
Well, they're also both going to end up getting super maxed out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brown's super max next year, Trey will kick in 286. And then Tatum's, at least from the estimates, look like he's going to be the first $300 million player when he can sign his at the end of this year. I don't know how that totally impacts it, because right now they're all signed. If you add in Drew Holiday's extension, Porzingis, that core is extended for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and you also think that the Boston Celtics, again, they did a great job at the end of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce's run. They didn't hold on too long. They got rid of them.
That was huge.
Ceremoniously, but got rid of them. And that's how they were able to draft, to then go get Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Oh, by the way, they weren't afraid to move off of some of the core and pieces that they had. Now, you could argue the Bucks did this with Drew Holiday and got rid of him, but, anyway, Boston's winning a championship with him. But Boston does the same thing with, Marcus Smart was like the life and soul of that basketball team, and they went and got Drew Holiday. And, kind of the same kind of things where they had some of those other guys, and they get rid of some of their core and they go get Kristaps Porzingis. So you can't ever. I guess that's my thing when I turn to the Bucks. You can't sit around and say, okay, we got to stay with this core because that's what's going to get us. No, like teams want to get better and evolve, and you got to find ways to move the ball forward. And so, I get it. Everybody likes Brook Lopez, but I mean, if there's something that makes sense, everybody likes Bobby Portis. If there's something that makes sense, you move things around. And even Boston did that just this offseason. And their additions to the offseason definitely were influential in them, winning and acquiring a championship.
Trey, after the game, Jason Tatum talked about quieting the noise and the sound around him, meaning everybody's saying he needs to be validated with a championship. Does this championship, does it validate him now as a superstar, seeing that he didn't win Eastern Conference Finals MVP, he didn't win NBA Finals MVP, and are you surprised that a professional athlete at the super top of his game, I mean, 3-time All-NBA, is really paying attention to the noise as much as he is?
No, all those guys pay attention to the noise. I think it just is what it is. They hear it. They know it. They know some of the narratives that surround them. And, I would say it validates the Boston Celtics. It validates Tatum as a champion. I don't know that it validates him as a superstar. If anything, this playoffs run, I think there was a lot of noise around Jaylen Brown about whether he deserved. You just talk about the mammoth of a contract that he got, $280 million or whatever it was. I think a lot of people are like, man, they gave him almost $300 million, and he can't even dribble with his left hand. He went out and showed a lot of people how valuable he was. I think he really changed the minds of a lot of people. I think Tatum kind of did what we all thought Tatum does, where he has some good games, has some stinkers as well, goes to the step back three a little too much. But again, at the end of the day, the totality of the Boston Celtics was too much to overcome. They had a run through the East, which, again, kudos to them for putting themselves in position. There were some injuries that went throughout the East, and they were able to get through the East without much resistance at all. And then they drew a favorable matchup against Dallas in the finals. And again, that's, you can only play who's in front of you. I think that Minnesota or Denver would have probably and again, styles make fights. I think Denver or Minnesota would have probably given a better fight to the Boston Celtics. But again, Dallas, I think, just had some. If you look at Dallas, the best part of their team is they're perimeter oriented.
Yeah.
Boston's defense is perimeter oriented. They would have ran into some problems against, let's say, a Denver, who's the best part of their team is
inside,
Joker,
with Joker.
Doing a lot of different things in the paint. And again, you'd had Porzingis, who was hobbled or whatever. He did not look good at all last night. But yeah, I think that would present a lot of problems if they had to deal with some interior lineups. And again, Dallas' bigs are really just rim runners. And again, Kristaps played well in the first game. So, again, I give him a lot of credit, but I think this more so validates the Boston Celtics and kind of how they run their organization, how Brad Stevens built the team versus Jason Tatum. But again, I give a lot of credit to Jaylen Brown too.
All right. Two quick ones here. First off, which one was more forced, a little more cringeworthy? Anything's possible, KG, or 17 years later, Jason Tatum? We did it!
It was for sure Tatum. Like, there's no, it was for sure Tatum. I think the KG's anything possible actually is that kind of that stood the test of time a little bit. That we did it. I don't know if that was gonna. I don't know if that was gonna hit.
All right, who's more angry? Who's more upset today? Marcus Smart or Ime Udoka?
Ooh. Ime Udoka is more upset because he knows that was his team. Like Marcus Smart, like they actually got rid of Marcus Smart and upgraded. I think Ime Udoka is still a better coach than Joe Mazzulla. He knows if he had kept it in his hands, he's hosting the trophy. But hey,
with Nia,
how
Trey.
I'm just saying.
Trey, I want to get back to that cringeworthy though. I mean, these guys are given taglines to say after they win an NBA championship. Kevin Garnett's was actually messed it up. He was supposed to say impossible is nothing, which was Adidas's tagline at the time. And he said anything is possible. I believe that's what got it the run that it did. Jason Tatum, I mean, that's just, we did it. That's just not a great slogan for Nike. I mean, I know Nike came out with just do it, and now he's saying we did it. So I understand that mindset, but these guys are doing taglines. At least Jason Tatum read the right tagline.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you're telling me something I didn't know. So that was, that's crazy. My first thought was, that was rehearsed like that. He definitely rehearsed that. So are you telling me that Nike told him that's what they told him to say, and that's why that came out like that? This is the first I'm hearing that.
I believe that is the case, just like Kevin Garnett's was anything is possible, but it was supposed to be Adidas's tagline of impossible is nothing.
Yeah, that's John's working theory he's got going today. So.
Oh, okay. This is a theory. Okay, I got it.
Right.
Okay.
We haven't seen that, confirmed or anything, but it's a theory.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy, and I think I actually like that. There's some truth to that, because it does give you a little more authenticity. When you mess the line up, that's a better that's a better line, and it doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds like you kind of came up with, hey, I forgot whatever line is, coming up with this on the spot, and it's organic and it's great. We did it. Like I said, my first thought was, he practiced that in the mirror, and I think he thought it came out better than it did in when it happened live. Yeah. So again, if that's what would happen, I think you should just kind of organically figure something out and say it, and I think that's better. Like what did LeBron? He said it's about damn time.
It's about damn time.
I thought that was a good one.
I mean, there's no doubt Tatum still rehearsed in the mirror. Tatum,
he had been yelling that the whole time coming to the arena.
I mean, he's like the kid in Little Giants before the game, in the
Bad
front of the mirror.
Thing is, dude, the moment when Deuce runs up to him with the hat in his hand, yells "Daddy," and he picks him up, like that's an amazing moment.
It is. It was. I'll give you that.
Then he goes and steps on it with the "We did it." I was like, oh man, that was so close to coming around a little bit on you.
He just seems corny, and I hate saying it. I don't know why, but it just does, right? That's just what Tatum feels like.
He might also just be a nice guy. Also might just be nice guy that you're just hating on because he wears a Boston Celtics uniform.
I'm sure
I know that's why I'm hating on him.
I'm sure he's not a bad dude. I just think
I had to watch him go for 46, still his best game ever against the Bucks in Game 6 at Fiserv Forum, and you can't tell me the Bucks aren't going to the NBA Finals that year in 2022. Trey, round of applause, man. Great NBA season. Great. You done good, man. You did good. Now we're just going to have to find other things to talk about when we hang out with you, which is not going to be hard because, I mean, who's trash of the week coming up every single week? We already know as we're taking out the trash. We'll hang out, talk some NFL and everything like that. But, man, great work. All NBA Finals, all NBA season. And thanks for the coverage. Thanks for hanging out with us, dude.
Appreciate you guys. It was fun. And like I said, man, we'll do this next year, of course.
We'll be chopping it up. That's Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's Saturday mornings right here on 97.3 The Game and the iHeartRadio app, also streaming on YouTube and X because, listen, and you can like it because nobody else is going to see it. Even if somebody doesn't want you liking the On Your T's and Q's live stream, you can do it and no one's got to know about it. 414-799-1973. Can you be happy for just about anybody on the Boston Celtics? And let's get into that. Which one was more cringeworthy? KG or Jason Tatum? I want to see some of the Nooners' responses to that. And can maybe the most polarizing, most Teflon, uncancelable television star leave broadcasting like this? We'll discuss it. It's 9 to noon on The Game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and take it from me, ordering windows in an older home, that can be tough to do. The way they did things way back in the day, a little different than the way they do things now. And it's why many people with historic homes reach out to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Their team of experts can customize windows and doors that match your architecture. It doesn't really matter what era it is. It doesn't matter what kind of home you live in either, because they offer nearly endless possibilities and flexibility in sizes, colors, finishes, and so much more. And the best part is if you order today from Pella, you get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Certain restrictions apply, however. The offer ends the end of the month, and Pella's products, they stand the test of time as well. You can feel confident that they will last a very, very long time, as they offer the best wood warranty in the business. And with a deal like this, there's no reason for you to wait any longer. So please get that 0% interest for up to 48 months if you order by June 30th at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. So set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Sour at 9 to noon, brought to you by Happy Place Hemp at happyplacehemp.com. Everybody relax with Happy Place Hemp and live your best life, and let Happy Place Hemp do for you what they've done for hundreds of nooners and hundreds of listeners of this station for the better part of the last couple of years. Give you a way to ease some stress, relax, and also do it in a healthy and safe way, because everything's made locally and legally right in Muskego, Wisconsin. If you're unfamiliar with hemp products and you want to go and understand what you're getting, what you're buying, what kind of effects positively and recreationally you can expect, Rob and Chris make everything, so they can tell you everything to expect inside their store, College Avenue in Muskego. Fantastic stuff. Or you just go online, happyplacehemp.com. Use promo code Billy. Mention my name when you go in there, and they will hook you up. 25% off online, all orders, everything in your cart, tinctures, the Drift Seltzer, which is new and fantastic, Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies, or the CBN, CBD gummies, Sleepy Times, all of which at happyplacehemp.com, available for you at 25% off when you use promo code Billy. All right, 414-799-1973. Talking text line rolling with this reaction as Boston wins the NBA championship. One individual, it looks like getting into a back and forth here on the text line, talking about John Horst just derailing the Milwaukee Bucks, letting Drew Holiday become a Celtic. Now, many people frustrated about it. Many people upset. However, it wasn't necessarily traded to the Boston Celtics, but we can discuss it. Kavika is in Maui, and he's on the talk version of the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Kavika, how you feeling this morning?
I hate Boston. But anyway.
Same with you on that. Yep.
Looking back on the whole trade, I mean, easy in hindsight to do now. I mean, looking how bad Dame played last year. I mean, Drew just reminded you how damn good he is. I mean, he moves so well laterally, such a great point guard, such a dog. He outplayed Dame last year for sure. And I, I don't know how this all looks on Giannis as well, because I mean, I think he had something to do with the Budenholzer trade, the okay for that. He probably wanted that. Letting go of Griffin, which I thought, like Trey said, did a decent job. The Dame thing. And now he's going to be playing in Greece. I don't think he should be playing in Greece. I think, as much as the owners, which I think are the stars of the Bucks, because they've given them everything they need and more to do what they need to do. It just hasn't worked right now. Hopefully it will in the future. But like I said, I don't know. Drew Holiday, he could have been a candidate for MVP.
Very well. Yeah. And he was through the first couple of games. Now I do struggle to say that Drew Holiday outplayed Damian Lillard all year long. I mean, Drew averaged 12.5 points a night. Dame averaged 24.5.
He did it
in 7 assists. But I understand he played more in the postseason. He had a much different role in the postseason, and it looked different. But John, it's not necessarily an apples to apples comparison when the role is so vastly different with how much he initiates offense in Boston, how much he would. And the other thing is, we remember a lot of really, really good times, conveniently forgetting when he was called upon to be the second in command, and they get boat raced by the Heat. So like, it is, I understand if we're looking at it in hindsight, it is easier to look at. And I was happy for Drew Holiday, more happy than I anticipated being last night. But I just don't know that we can just say they swapped out Drew Holiday and look at how much better he was in that 4-game sample size that we just watched of the Celtics in the playoffs.
Yeah, but this will always be a thorn in the side because, quite frankly, Drew Holiday played a bigger role with the Milwaukee Bucks because he had to play a bigger role with the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks were looking to better their team. Coincidentally, by bettering their team, they opened the door for the Celtics to take their second/third player in Drew Holiday and make that their really third, fourth kind of complementary piece where he would be the best. He would thrive in a role like that. Anybody thrives in a role where they take less of the pressure,
right?
Less of the workload, less of the, I have to be the guy. And that's exactly what Drew Holiday did in Boston. And that's what made it such an incredible move that they did out there. It makes it such a complete roster construction that it's almost like, man, when you look at the way teams are built, they're taking another all-star and sitting him in there as like their last starting piece. Their last starting piece. They have a team of guys who have made all-stars. They all-star games. They have a full top to bottom 5, heck 6 when you really count, when they're all healthy, guys that make all-star teams, and they have plucked them because other teams have said they're not good enough to be paid to be our number 3 because we can't make it to a championship here with them as our number 3. Well, okay, Boston will take them and somehow convince them to be a 4 or a 5 on their team.
Well, and I don't know how this comparison plays because they're different sports and obviously matter in different ways. But I think about it like Von Miller when the Rams picked him up at the trade deadline, right? Like people are saying, dude, he looks so much better than he did with the Broncos at the end. Well, he was also playing next to Aaron Donald, right? Was playing less run snaps. They also had, Jalen Ramsey in the back end of the corner. Like you can look better when you are the 3rd or 4th star on that spot. You're still getting paid the same, but you're going to have many more opportunities.
To play for. And he had something
to play for.
He had something to play for, which was a Super Bowl championship. Now,
but he's also the one that had won one and brought that to that defense.
Exactly.
Saying, guys, I've seen what it is.
Well, that's what Drew Holiday did.
That's what Drew did. Yes.
Drew came here, helped us, with the amazing plays against, Atlanta, with the amazing defense against the Phoenix Suns. He did the exact same thing for the Bucks. Now, the only thing I don't compare him with Von Miller for is he had something to play for here in Milwaukee. Had he been here, he would have had something to play for once again, and he would have played really hard. And we don't know what this team would have looked like with Drew instead of Dame, but I think we all look at it and think, if we just look at the Bucks roster, not where our pieces end up in the finality, if we just look at this Bucks roster, is it better with Dame or is it better with Drew, Dante, and
well, they traded Grayson in that deal.
And Grayson.
Yeah. I mean, Dante was gone
I'm talking about all
the
I'm talking about all the pieces that before they left. You were talking about running it back from the year before.
Yeah. So, I just think you're better with Dame. I think it's all about the burden that he had to carry Drew. And Drew was a great player, but carrying a larger burden on defense and offense made him less efficient. And that's just the reality of it. And everyone can see it. It's right in the numbers. Compare his numbers in the playoffs, shooting this year to years in the past. Doesn't mean he isn't great for the Bucks. Doesn't mean he's not a legend. Doesn't mean he didn't make championship winning plays. But the reality is the Bucks had to take that shot, and they still would. Anybody would that knows anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I agree. But I agree. Both things can be true.
Yes,
Armin.
Both things can be true.
I believe the Bucks had to take that shot. I also believe that by the Bucks taking that shot, it opened the door for the Celtics to just become bigger and stronger.
Oh, sure, it was a great,
which is now
them.
the hurdle that the Bucks have to get over just to get to the NBA Finals. Yeah. I believe both to be true. I believe the Bucks making that trade made the Bucks better, but I also believe it made the Celtics better.
No doubt about it. It was a perfect piece for them because they could ask him to star in a smaller role, and that made their team that much better. And let's remember, guys, the Bucks didn't trade Drew to the Celtics. Portland did, and anyone could have done that. So we talk so much about the Bucks. People keep talking about the Bucks giving Drew to the Celtics. The Bucks did not give Drew to the Celtics. So if I have to print out shirts and wear them, I will say that. The Bucks did not give Drew to the Celtics.
Okay, but now if we're not going to do this transitive property,
yes,
then can you continually do it with William Contreras, a part of the Josh Hader trade?
No, you can't.
That's fair. That's fair.
You can't.
Right. But
you're right, Billy. But you're right.
Because I mean, we've made that argument enough times.
But usually we don't rip on the team trading. Usually that argument's about should the Bucks have traded Josh? Did it eventually make the team better? It did because you made the right trades afterwards. So
no, we're saying should the Bucks have traded for Dame? It's the exact same thing. Whether you trade for or trade away, it's the same thing, Armin.
Yeah, but yes, but it's not exactly the same situation, but you're right. It's very similar.
Well, it is because the hurdle we have to get over, the hurdle the Bucks have to get over, the last hurdle that knocked the Bucks away from the NBA Finals deep in the playoffs was the Celtics.
Right.
And now they are better.
And Chris is one of my favorite nooners, and he puts this picture on the Talking Text line of him wearing a Boston Celtics jersey or a T-shirt. Great job, Celtics. My second favorite team. Bucks are my first. Chris.
He's such a nice guy, Chris, too.
Chris.
I love Chris. He's the nicest guy in the world.
He's so nice.
Yeah, but I just come on, man.
Come on, man. Be better than that, Chris. Come on,
he's
Chris.
Just a Drew Holiday fan.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
maybe he's rooted for Kristaps Porzingis at every team he's been on.
Let's do that.
Right. That was it. Started with the Knicks. I had to hear that last night. Can't you just be happy for Drew Holiday? I guess I'm going to bed then. I'm not. No, you know what? I'm not going to be happy about it right now.
I am actually happy.
I will at some particular point in time this year, once he goes on a couple of podcasts and talks about how tough the transition was and how much he loves Milwaukee. And more importantly, once it's not so fresh, right? I just need this scab to heal. Then I can pour the salt.
Giannis scored 50 in Game 6, but Drew Holiday has the moments. You talk about moments. Drew Holiday has those moments from that series.
Oh, I think everybody had moments though. I mean, don't you think that Middleton had great moments? People consistently underrate the run Middleton had in that playoff.
If they bring in that Larry Bird trophy in 2021. He wins the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And then he's a lock for a Hall of Famer. I saw Jim Osarski saying that yesterday. And he might also be into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame already. All right, 414-799-1973. Armin's giving me the Molly Curum. Let me do my job. Take it to break quick. NicoletLaw.com, talking text line. More reaction right after this. It's 9 to noon statewide on the Game. Welcome back. It's 9 to noon. Billy Schmid, Armin Sarian, John Kuhn with all of you on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. We're inside the Iron Jock studios, and Iron Jock has your back literally now through June 23rd. When you buy $75 or more, not only will Iron Jock take 25% off everything in your cart, you'll also get a string backpack for free. It's a $25 bonus item for free. Free, free. That means it's me. Just use promo code 25fathers to get that free string backpack and 25% off $75 or more at ironjock.com, ironjoc.com for more details. 414-799-1973. Boston is the champs in the NBA. Our guy Chris in the 262. Chris, not helping yourself out anymore, man. Not how he said, we love you guys. I just became a Celtics fan when they won in 08. Okay.
Man.
I mean, you had a much better chance telling me you were just in love with Paul Pierce coming out of Kansas.
Monica.
Come make some money.
Sorry, what?
What do you think Paul Pierce was doing last night?
Trying to call Monica, right?
Everything.
Oh, he was excited.
You know he was living his absolute best life. Ray Allen was in attendance last night. You notice he was not with any of the other Celtics that he won that championship with?
Yeah, wow, but he still came.
I don't think they talked to him. I still think that is a beef that is completely unresolved between that group.
That's
for him leaving to Miami.
That's totally messed up. You got to get over that. It's been a long enough time. He was part of that group. Why are you holding a grudge like that? I just don't get that. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, listen.
Grow up, man, right?
Maybe he also didn't want to come and hang out and help Monica make some money.
Monica, yeah, he wasn't that type.
He wasn't at Monica's event. No.
Yeah.
414-799-1973. Steve is in Oconomowoc on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Hey, Steve.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Gotta admit, I'm in a good place. I'm a lifelong Celtics fan. Obviously, they won. But what I'm more excited about is the potential in the future because of Brad Stevens, really. The moves that he's made, Derek White, getting Porzingis, he's a Bucks guy through Portland. Holiday was great. But even if you look at even Pritchard and Hauser played great. And I can actually see one of those two guys being traded for some top picks in the future. And they probably deserve the chance to play somewhere else where they're starting. And so I'm happy with the future. All due to Brad Stevens.
Awesome.
Glad.
Congratulations.
Steve. I was like, think your phone's dropping.
Congratulations.
What happened there? Sorry. I'm glad Steve's happy.
What the absolute hell?
I'm sorry, guy. I didn't know
is this EEI?
I don't know we're going to go full Sports Hub Boston breakdown of the Celtics future. Yes, he's correct.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Brad Stevens is to be credited for this great Boston run and this great team that he put together. And Sam Hauser, I have a complicated relationship with him.
You think?
He was a great player at Marquette. Unexpected. When he was recruited, a lot of people were looking at Joey, but they weren't thinking about Sam. And Marquette made that commitment, and he was really good for the Marquette for 3 years, then decided to leave. And I wish he would have stayed. He transferred as a senior, but
maybe Shaka said he just wasn't a Marquette guy.
Well, actually, Wojo said that.
Well,
that was the Wojo issue.
Wojo wasn't very much a Marquette guy.
So I do kind of blame Wojo for that. I just wish he would have stayed. But Sam, you got to give Sam credit.
Hey, good on you, kid.
He carved out a good college career for himself when a lot of people weren't looking at him as a big-time D1 player. And he grinded his way into the NBA and now is an NBA champion. And he didn't even care that much last night. Remember when he said pregame, hey, I guess we can win.
Well, we can win it tonight, but I mean, it's not really that.
It's not the end of the world if we don't win.
Yeah, it's not really the end of the world if we don't win it tonight.
Come on, Sam. All right.
They had themselves a good night. Everybody in Boston seemed like they had themselves a fantastic celebration. So congratulations to them. And I don't have anything more. Like I'm not going to continue to fake being happy for them. Like good on you guys. You won it. Now let's move on because I really don't like them.
You got to take the bullets though, man.
Yeah.
You really do. And they're going to stand up there now, the Boston Celtics, and say, told you so. I told you so. To the victor go the spoil. The Celtics won the championship. And the crazy thing is, it was with the team, man. Like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they are superstars. But, I mean, where do you put them? Where do you put them in superstars of the game right now? I mean, Trey said, and the one thing I wanted to get to him was Jason Tatum would be accepted as the lead star on any team. Well, really, would he? Would he be the lead star in Milwaukee?
Nope.
Would he be the lead star in Denver?
Nope.
Would he be the lead star in Dallas?
Nope.
What about Minnesota?
So that's 3. Right now, probably.
But I think the point is I don't think Tatum's top 5 still.
What
And
about-
that's the point, right?
What about OKC?
Yes.
Probably OKC, right?
Mhm.
Well, Shea,
Yeah. Even over Shea, I think so. Yeah.
be closer though. Be very close to me.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
saying.
very close.
Yeah.
But I also, I mean, they're both top 10 players in the NBA, right? I mean, like,
I'll give you top 10.
which means they're both second team, at least first or second team All NBA.
Yeah, that's what makes them a part of a great team. I get it.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be the lead star on at least, 75% of the teams. But I mean, if indeed you're going with a couple of the MVPs like Jokic and Giannis, maybe not. But
it's
an
also
interesting
it's also a change in the statesman, right?
What do you mean?
Curry, LeBron, Kawhi.
Yeah,
they're all.
it's
I mean,
changing.
we're looking at Jason Tatum and saying, if he was on those teams. I mean, just if they were 3 years younger, maybe not so much. But it's just a changing in the tide. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown look like they are on the rise.
Jimmy Butler. I mean, what about the Heat?
They're both bigger stars than him, especially Jimmy at this particular point in time.
Yeah, but
and with how Pat Riley's feeling about Jimmy Butler these days.
Well, yeah, but Jimmy would never agree to that. So that's where I'm saying you're right. I think so too. But I don't think Jimmy feels that way.
If prime Michael Jordan was on his team, Jimmy would think he's the best player on the team.
Exactly.
So I mean, we can take that for what it is. 414-799-1973. All right, hour number 3, always our best one of the day. Our investment hour comes up next. It's John Kuhn, it's Billy Schmidt, it's Armin Sarian, and it's all you on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. It's a team effort to win this title. Hour 3 at 9 noon right after this. Hour 3 and 9 to noon fires up right now. This song just feels like a baseball song. Maybe it's just because it was on the playlist that I would run when I was PA announcing for the Whitnall Falcons in high school.
Did you love doing that? Was it awesome?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Get to go in, yell into a microphone, and then sing the national anthem. It was a great way to spend a 4:30 afternoon in high school. More importantly, then I was able to go and have all the fun and then not have to worry about being hungover for the game the next day.
So you sang the national anthem. You had somebody sing the national. You didn't actually have what most high schools had, which was the old record player,
the recording
that you could hear.
Oh, it was on the CD. Yeah, it was on the CD. I hit skip.
You didn't play it.
No, I sang it.
No,
yeah,
no.
sang. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said they actually had that for you to play, and you said no.
Thanks, but no thanks.
A cappella.
Yep, I'm going to dominate it even better. And you should have seen Coach Cry's face when I first ripped that out. He looked back and was like, "Who's up there with you?" Coach, that was me. All right. So we're going to keep doing that every game, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
People
no
be
doubt about
surprised to know you're a singer, Billy?
A little
I think
bit.
so. I
Yeah,
think
a little
people are
bit.
surprised to
Can
know
you
that.
give us just the first 2 bars?
No.
You're not going to do it.
That's for
No.
the podcast. That's for off the air.
Yeah, that's for off the air.
Maybe he'll
Yeah.
do it. Maybe he'll do it live at Interday.
Self-proclaimed singer.
Yep.
Maybe
2
he'll-
bars? No.
Maybe he'll do a lot live.
You
at
don't give that
Interday.
out for free.
Yeah, you kidding me? That those are like picks.
Are you singing the
from below
national
ankle.
anthem at the Brewers Rangers?
Oh, if they would let me.
I know you
A
do.
lifelong dream. Lifelong dream.
If you're out there listening, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
I mean,
us out.
listen,
Just
it's
a
right
shot.
here. Waiting right here. That would
That
be
easy.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Could
just
you
work on it.
imagine all of a sudden they actually just walk up to us as we're standing there saying, "Hey, Billy, by the way, national anthem singer dip. So you all good?"
You'd have a lot to live up to. I mean, the legendary national anthem. I mean, you have Bob Kozlowski. What's Bob's name? That
You
sings
talking
that-
about fan services, Bob, that sings
right. He sings
God Bless America every Sunday.
God Bless America. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Bob.
And
Come on,
and of course you have Ben, who's singing at the Bucks games.
that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Not going to be as good as Ben.
No. And
Not going to be as good as Stacy, who sings it at the Admirals games and Brewers games all the time.
Stacy, yeah, Stacy Cheney. There's a lot of great ones that we have sing. Who's the little girl that used
More
to sing?
importantly, just hoping not to be the worst,
Oh,
right? Like you
no,
go
you're
in there,
fine.
you just hope to not be Fergie. You hope that nobody walks up and says,
Or Carl Lewis.
"Yikes!" Right? Like nobody's taking a deep breath in the middle of it. Oh, I really hope this is over
Right.
soon. I really hope this is over soon.
Do you like what is going through the mind of Carl Lewis? Somebody asks him just off the cuff, "Hey, you want to sing a national anthem?" Yeah, I got no problem with that.
I
Like,
gotcha.
I mean, I understand not giving a rip. I understand, YOLO, you only live once.
Sure.
Take all the chances you can take. Find out what it's like to fail miserably and laugh at yourself but goodness gracious, sometimes you just need to know your role. You need to know what lane you need to stay in. If you don't drive fast, stay in the right lane.
What's tough for a guy like Carl is like, it would have been great if you were just average at it or not even, but he was so bad that he's most known for that. I mean, all the great athletic achievements he had, the legendary
That's what you
track.
think of, yeah.
And the first thing that comes up when you search Carl Lewis is national anthem. Then it's 100-meter world record, long jump, gold medal, all that stuff.
But I'm not, there's one side of me that thinks that is awesome. He had to have known he stunk at it.
And he wasn't afraid.
He
right?
had to know that he was going to botch it. And he said, "You know what? Hold my beer while I do it anyway. This was a dream of mine. And even though I'm terrible at it, I got the opportunity to do it. I'm going to do it." Or do you your vocals raspy?
Sure.
Did you eat practice? Did you see a vocalist?
Hey, now, where was this?
Yeah, basketball.
Okay.
The Knicks, right?
I'm going to look for it.
Because, like, I think Marcus Ware putting himself out there singing the national anthem at the Hall of Fame. Remember that? He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he said, "You know what I really wanted to do? I want to sing the national anthem at the Hall of Fame game." And I can remember everybody on both teams looking as they realized that Marcus Ware is singing it like, "Dude, please
I mean,
be
that's
good.
the
Please
Hall
be good.
that's the
Please
Hall
be
of Fame
good."
game. So please tell me, how did he do?
It was decent. Yeah, it was
You
pretty
know,
decent.
we had DeMarcus Ware on the show one time.
We did.
And we had to press the dump button 7 times.
He didn't remember we were on the radio.
Wasn't interested in it.
I
Past
kept
it.
hitting it. I said, what is happening here? He kept doing it. So, yes.
We had him
I remember
on.
that.
That was such a great
Big
interview.
ones or
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
big ones. We definitely needed to hit.
We had to hit it.
A couple with the crooked letter, and then one with the with the straight letter.
Yeah.
You know? So
Okay,
we did have to hit it quite, and it was a wild ride, but that was a super fun interview.
It was fun. It was fun for everybody else. I didn't have as much
a little
fun.
bit more stressful for you.
I was hovering over that thing because he kept, and it's got to rebuild the delay. By the way, it was the Nets Bulls in New Jersey that Carl Lewis saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Here we go.
Not ready for that.
What are you trying to do, man?
He's already better than that.
But he's trying to think he's gonna hit like a grand slam.
He had a full R&B grab and pull. Oh wow.
Uh-oh. That's the best part. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
He's talking and giving commentary in the middle of it. That was the worst,
Oh.
So now, again,
Now
I
hold
go
on,
back
I'm
to-
going to slay this part.
He's already a better singer than me, just with that. Oh.
That is
He's
awesome.
already a better singer than me. I would no way in this world say yes to this.
Yeah, but
there's not a chance I would do this. So I give him a ton of credit for saying, YOLO, I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to do it no matter where it goes.
I agree, but
The only problem is he did think it was karaoke night and he could just talk and ad lib for the whole thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And it's not karaoke night because if you don't know the lyrics, you're going to have potentially a tough time.
yeah,
Depending on where you're standing and looking.
you can't know what level you're at and then try and be the Michael Jordan of saying you can't do it that way, which is what he tried to do. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Good for him though, taking a
Yeah.
shot, taking a swing at it.
Sure. Now he'll
Listen,
be known for that forever.
If indeed at New, because Tyson and Zilla Washington said, could you imagine the Nooner Day section though? If all of a sudden they hand me the mic and I'm the national anthem singer
Oh, it's
on the
going to go.
26th,
It's going to go Electric Factory, and
explode.
everybody in the dugout's going to be wondering why is everybody cheering so hard for Billy right now?
For this guy.
This is outstanding, but
What's this dude doing?
what is going on here? What do we not know about this guy? Well, he's the beer.
Oh, what?
That's Charlie Stein. That's the ESPN
Take
excerpt.
a shot at it.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah.
And the home. There you go. That's
There you
the-
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
There's
See,
a little taste.
I know you'd be good at it. I know people don't realize you can sing, man.
More importantly, I just, sang a lot of Justin Timberlake songs to myself in the shower.
Oh.
I don't know that we can talk about that one very
Poor
much
guy.
here today. Yeah,
Oh,
tough
my-
one.
Come on. Oh.
Bringing sexy back in that orange jumpsuit. All right, let's
Caught
go.
the case,
Let's
caught
go
the
to
case.
the NicoletLaw.com talking text line 414-799-1973. John, the engineer.
Uh-oh, John the engineer. I thought it was your day off, John. You listen to us, your day off?
There's no days. There's no days off.
Hey, he's building a
I'm
new studio.
enjoying listening on the off days. Yeah, Billy, they probably at least let you whistle the national anthem. I saw there was a guy in Baltimore who
Saw that.
literally
Mhm.
it was pretty cool though. But
Yeah.
you got some pipes.
I could do that. That's not that big of a deal.
Pipes? You mean lips? He's got lips.
Lips
and a
under the
tongue.
pressure though, Armin.
I don't know about the
That's fair,
pressure,
yeah.
but I know I
You
could
gotta make
whistle
sure
it.
those lips are wet.
Can you blow that whistle?
Yeah, that's solid.
No,
All right,
I'm
let's
saying
get
it's
back
good.
to
All right,
John.
yeah,
Let's get
thank
back to
God.
John.
All right, John, you had a Bucks take. We were saving. Go ahead.
This is A+ radio. I'll be quick. I felt sick last night, particularly with the Drew Holiday component. But then I remembered it stunk watching PJ Tucker with Miami the year after he won the championship. It stunk this year during the playoffs seeing Dante DiVincenzo tear it up with the Knicks. It stunk seeing Drew all year as an integral part of the Celtics. And it honestly kind of gave me some pangs when I saw Budenholzer in the Suns press conference. And then I realized this morning, it's a part of winning. If we don't win that championship that year in Milwaukee, these guys going elsewhere wouldn't sting as much. It's the fact that we have those memories and those associations, seeing them as a part of something that was so special to us as Bucks fans, that makes it tough. So I woke up today kind of excited for next year because I think that you can't hang on, and you wouldn't be a better team to hang on to all of those guys. I think when Dame has a full off season to recoup and get in a groove, when Giannis is healthy, when we figure out what we're doing with Portis and some of the other question marks guys who were integral, but maybe we need a better fit for next year, we're going to be a great team, and we're going to have a chance to now go up against a formidable Boston Celtics organization who's coming off a championship and break their hearts. It's going to be a great year, and I'm really happy for Drew in retrospect.
Love it.
All right, there you
Great
go, John.
perspective.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go, John.
Yeah, I
Little
disagree.
nice, but
I disagree. But yeah, I mean, I do. I am happy for Drew. I will say that because I loved Drew Holiday as a Buck. I loved him as a Buck. He was right there with Giannis and Chris. I loved him as a Buck. Loved it. And I am happy for him. But the one thing I do disagree about is doesn't happen because you win. It doesn't just happen because you win. Yes, change is inevitable, but that's what we're here for, is to look at the changes and assess whether they were the right moves when they were made. And if we are a better team now than what we were immediately after winning the championship, or 12 months after the championship, or we're 3 years down the road now from the championship. Can you believe it or not? And that window, Armin, is it as wide open as we felt it was when we won that championship?
No, it's not. It's not as wide open as we thought that very next year going in, because I kept saying, even the year after, hey, no one's beating to this three without
not even wide open as we thought. Is it actually as open as it was?
Well, I still think you have Giannis as good as he's ever been, and you still have Dame, and that's a window. So I believe in the window, or a window, being open to a certain extent. I don't know if it's the same window and to the same length,
sure,
as it was right when we came back. But listen, it would have taken a lot to, even if that group was healthy, we never found out what they would have done healthy.
But wasn't that also
might have been tough still?
But that also is right in the middle before we really started recognizing the turning of the tide in the NBA and the parity that was across the league.
Oh, yeah.
That was really starting to flurry around the league at that point. So, maybe our conception of how, you're just easy. You win a championship, you're for sure going to be in the finals the next year, maybe the year after, because you'd watched like 4 teams play in the finals for the last decade. So like that part of it might be a little morphed. However, I think the window's open. Not as wide open as a Boston Celtics one is. So you might have to close that Pella window really, really shut.
And the true dominant Bucks teams, I think the window was probably closing, and maybe we flew through it just in time. And that's the one, to John's positivity perspective, because the 19 Bucks were the best. The bubble Bucks might have been the best team as well. We talk about how close we were with Toronto. The Bucks could have very easily won that game 3 in overtime and been up 3-0 and gone to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And could have won that Finals. Maybe we would have won that one and then
had leads in game 5 and 6.
Sure. And maybe the Bucks win that. Maybe they win that and not win the next 2 years. Maybe COVID doesn't happen. The bubble doesn't happen. They win that year. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what could have happened. All you know is what you had, right? And you have to be able to say, I'm thankful for that. So
John, the engineer, then hits the text version of the talking text line. Come on, John boy. Don't be a downer. Potawatomi Sportsbooks has us at the 3rd best odds for the title next year. Window is open. Does that mean, Armin, that the Bucks are going to be a part of John the engineer's legendary Potawatomi parlays coming up here?
Oh, I definitely think it is. The parlays he puts together, you want to talk about, to the moon?
To the moon,
baby, to the moon.
Strapping 4 long shot odds, and maybe like Brewers money line to it. Then one easy one, and then the longest of long shots throw on there, like 5 to win $27,000.
Hey, you might win. You know what?
Those are the fun lottery tickets you can have though in your hand.
The type of bet you and I might have, you win the bet, you win some free, you win your beers for that night. The type of bet he has, he wins a down payment on a house. So
trying to win a car.
Exactly.
Trying to win a car. And you can do all of those at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Much better.
We're allowed to go back. Yes, Armin. Great job here. We got a new bed, and we're back here, Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. And if you haven't been down there, or you have, you can make your way back to that beautiful sportsbook, biggest sportsbook outside of Vegas, bigger than a lot of sportsbooks in Vegas, because it has a 2,000 square foot curved LED screen. And if you've never seen anything curved that big, make your way down. Did that one on purpose.
Yeah.
I love that. Make your way down there and check out the scene, because it's absolutely fantastic with the seating, with the food, with the video boards, with the open concept, with all of it.
And a coon dog.
Sausage.
You can get a coon dog, maybe a Billy brat, maybe something else. You can
Sausage?
get everything down there. And it's a fantastic time when we're down there because we'll be down there for Nooner Day. Yesterday, Armin went away from the parlays because I said, need to get ourselves a win, break this.
We needed a win.
It was 9 days in a row. We were running with parlays and 9 losses in a row. So we just got a simple win yesterday, Celtics -6.5. That one came through. And now we'll go to the NHL side after the Florida Panthers got boat raced 8-1 in game 4 to keep their series alive. It's going to end here tonight. They are back in Florida, and that's where Florida's been very, very dominant so far in this NHL finals. And Panthers -1.5. I think that one's easy because it's got just all the feel of what the NBA finals did. Game 4, gentleman's sweep. Okay, take this big win. Take this one home. Feel good about yourselves. Now we're going to go home. We're going to get the duck boats ready, and we're going to get ourselves ready for a championship. Panthers finish this thing off tonight, -1.5. The only thing difference is in the NHL, they find ways to go 7 games. They find ways to go 7 games. So I'm going to root for, this is probably going to be tight. This is probably going to be close, and I'm probably going to need an empty netter at the end of this thing, which they did get.
But you should get it.
Which they did get in game 2.
Yeah.
So I like this. Panthers -1.5.
What I love about the puck line here as opposed to -155 money line, if you believe Florida's going to win and have a lead, there's going to be a strong chance they get the empty netter just because I think.
Well, they're going to get a chance at the empty
Well,
netter.
what I mean to say is there's going to be a goalie pulled much earlier. I mean, they're going to not,
Sure,
they have
with the
to take
championship on the line,
Edmonton
season
has
on the
to take
line. Yeah.
chances. So they might pull a goalie with 4 or 5 minutes left as opposed to with 2 minutes left. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're going to have a lot of chances as chances at an empty netter.
Skinner
here.
also falls asleep at the wheel. I mean, like there are many times where it's just like, dude, what are we looking at 7-4? As somebody that watched way too much Edmonton Oilers hockey, thanks to Potawatomi Sportsbook. But
and thanks to a rather endowed fan.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Now I don't know. I don't know how this plays out. Oh, she came out herself.
Well,
let everybody know
she found herself.
She came out of the closet.
No one found her. Right.
Well, actually, I don't even know out of a closet, like under a bridge.
She's like in a field.
The video's literally under a bridge.
Well, it is Edmonton.
She said it was her favorite place.
Is Edmonton the city of rivers or something? Was she destined to be under a bridge?
I just thought.
Does she live under that bridge?
I think Edmonton.
Does she have a tent? Does she have, cardboard
Someone
boxes?
was pitching her one.
What is going on?
I don't know. All I know is I can't play the audio.
She created plenty of tents.
Plenty of tents around Edmonton.
Swears like 6 times, so I can't play the audio. But I do think of Edmonton. I think I could have died. I was prepping this. Okay, I was all right. Anyway,
better idea.
He wants to tell us everything he did do before work today. He doesn't tell us
that better than Red Auerbach.
He doesn't want to tell us everything that he didn't do before work today.
Fair. Anyway, my point was
414-799-1973. Did Armin do enough work before he came into the actual booth here today, the studio booth? Or did he run from the grind?
Forget it.
What were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying Edmonton's in northern Alberta. I think of a lot of wildlife. I think of a lot of, scenery.
What does that have to do with bridges?
Nothing.
Well, water.
Absolutely nothing.
Bridges, but also Oilers. That's oil rigs. Maybe those were oil rigs, not bridges. Maybe that was oiling. Maybe that was oil stuff. I don't know.
Could have been. Yeah.
Well, the Oilers
wasn't, but could have been.
Right.
Yep.
The Oilers. It's about they got oil up there. I'm assuming so.
For sure.
All right.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
Forget it.
I got an update. David Bakhtiari giving everybody an update on his situation.
Oh, wow. Hold on.
In a random response to a tweet where somebody mentions, man, how David Bakhtiari is still a free agent beyond me. Talking about one of the best, if not the best left tackle in the game before he got hurt. I get the knee problem, but why not take a shot at him for these teams desperate like the Commanders, Patriots, or Jets? D-Bach. It's mutual. I'm waiting to make sure there are no question marks about my knee. We are nearing the end of my rehab, so things are going to heat up on both ends in the coming 2 months. I'm excited to remind everyone once again. So just outline it just in the next couple of months. That means, John, I'll be ready by the end of training camp. So somebody let me know once, we're through like halfway portion of that, then I'll be free and clear, ready to go. And then maybe we'll talk. Or maybe we won't. And maybe Dave, we've seen the last Ray football out of him. And maybe I want Dave to do whatever makes Dave the most happiest.
Yeah, remind us, Dave.
But as a fan of David Bakhtiari, if the final memory that I have an image of him in on an NFL field is him giving the bird at the line of scrimmage to everyone at Soldier Field. It's a hell of a way to go out, which I would be very okay with plastering over my basement.
9-10 games in 3 years is what teams are looking at right now for David. So I have no doubt there will be a tackle that gets injured during training camp, and there will be a team that will say, will you come in on a vet minimum salary? And then we'll see.
Then we'll see.
Will Dave remind us all? Do you think he'll also remind us ever what happened November 8th when he said date to remember?
I've been waiting for that. Remind me.
It's my sister's birthday. Maybe he was just saying something about that.
Gotta be that.
It could have been that. 414-799-1973. All right. Massive numbers because now we got to figure out what to watch. NBA season is over. People are still telling us WNBA is doing it numbers wise. And these ones from CBS Sports, even crazier than you would assume. It's 9 to noon statewide on the Game.
He hasn't heard it yet.
He has not heard it yet.
Is this really?
Where are you living under a rock?
He's got to be.
Armin?
He's got to be living under a rock.
Under a
Yes.
rock.
Oh,
That's the most played song in America. And you played the old version.
I didn't know about it. I'm
We played
excited.
the old version of Tipsy, and I was like, hey, man, you heard the Shabuzi version.
There's a new version of this?
Now, Shanna and Shannon O and Scott are playing it. But, John, you're right.
Every hour. It's every
hour.
hour on the hour.
Yes.
It is out there, Armin. This is the new theme song
This
of
one?
America. This will be
This is it?
Yep,
this is your 4th of July song, Armin. You will hear this on every lake in Wisconsin 7 million times.
I'm trying to remember if I heard it.
First time, wasn't into it.
I didn't
Second time I was like, all right, I was thirsty, and now I'm drunk. And now I'm all over it.
For me, it was I'm waiting for the hook, and I'm like, oh, hold on. Okay, actually, yeah, we could do this. Just let it marinate for a little bit
Okay,
here.
I'm excited.
Here you go.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to film.
Yeah, remember. Good Lord.
Come on now.
That's crazy. It's a great thing. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to Jaquan in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jaquan. Got some money.
Jaquan's like royalties. Royalty. And he's
Gotta
going to
be.
get a lot of them because it's getting played
You never
nonstop.
thought he'd be
yeah.
he got sampled in a country song.
What on earth
pretty
was
good. It's pretty
Jaquan
good.
up to
This is
before
pretty
this?
good. Yeah, this is pretty good.
This is, I'm telling you, first time. Oh, come on. You can't do this. Second time. Okay. Third time. Okay.
Dude.
It's on. This is the fast car of 2023.
Yeah, probably.
Or 2024.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't hear it yet.
When Shanna had played it for me the first time, she goes, "You didn't hear the Tipsy song?" I'm like, Shanna, what are you talking about here?
What we need to do
come on
is, since
here.
Armin's under a rock,
I'm not
with
always
his
under
what-
a rock. But
you're under a
kind
rock.
of, yeah.
Fine.
It's 9 months. You're under a 9-month pregnant rock right,
Right,
now. Okay,
right.
so we understand the stress you that's in your life. We need to have Shanna and Scott. I'm sorry, I can't call him Scott here. Dolph. We
Oh
need to
yeah,
have-
sorry.
We
Yep,
need
Dolph.
to have
Yep.
Shanna and Dolph send you the new stuff all the time.
I'll take it.
You need to get the new stuff.
I want to hear it. I mean, I need to know what's up.
You
know
need to
what's
stay
hot.
current. You need to stay up to date. How are you ever going to do the beds for
I know.
Can't Miss going forward?
I need to know what's hot. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I'm just looking up because I wanted to see what Jaquan was doing for the last decade.
Oh,
What's he up
it's
to?
not.
Zero
Nothing.
understanding what he's doing here. Last thing on his Wikipedia page,
Are you sure he's not selling financial services like
Like
Ryan
everybody
Braun?
Like
Yeah.
Brawny?
And-
2013, June of 2013, he made a diss track titled "Pushing the Odds," produced by H Snowbeats towards Odd Future and Pusha T. After previous disses from both of them. But in March of 2010, Jaquan's record label said that he had been missing since February. And later that month,
Missing?
MTV News reported that they had been in touch with the record label, confirming Jaquan was indeed alive.
Yeah, he was chilling.
There
so
was
hard.
actually a moment where they
Right.
had thought, bro, this guy's still alive? Like, no one's heard from him in so long.
He had one monster hit. And
Wow.
that was it. And he said, "I'm working.
I'm going to stop making that joke now.
I'm gonna work so little that they might think something happened." to me.
think something happened to me
and
nobody knew.
Yeah, so that's it.
Oh, man. All
I mean,
right.
What do you think he was up to? Did he do an ayahuasca retreat and just get lost for forever? I mean,
I
what
think
happened?
he was just chilling out, man. I think he was just retired. You know, I think that I have
Just
no
living
idea.
off that one hit.
What is?
I mean, or taking another couple
Jaquan?
of hits. John, I think you might be right. Maybe he was trying to realize himself a little bit more, learn a little bit more about himself.
Well, Bill-
17 years old when he made Tipsy. All I know is I
I
did
was about
Tipsy, and
20.
Tipsy is forever it.
I saw that he interviewed with Billboard just a couple months ago.
That's the #1 song ever.
Dude, I love that quote. All I know is I did Tipsy and Tipsy is forever it. That's I love it.
Wow.
That's amazing. He's got a necklace on that says him.
He does say I got a crazy percentage, revealing the business dealings
yeah.
behind Shabuzi's there. The clearance process nothing go down unless Jaquan says it goes down. Just facts. Of course, when I come in, I'm talking strong numbers. That's all of my song, but I'm proud of him.
That's
Hey,
hilarious.
there you go, Jaquan.
Oh, he probably made more money
Let's
on
go.
that. He probably made more money on that than the original Tipsy that he made.
Man,
I'm talking.
well, it is
strong
big
numbers.
money right now.
I bet the interview with him was electric. You know what I mean?
Oh, it had to have
what
been
tells
awesome.
you? What tells you that?
Just the Wiz quotes. You know, just the quotes he's just dropping. You know, when I come in, I'm talking strong numbers.
I'm talking strong numbers. I want that to be somebody's leverage point. That's what Caitlin Clark needs to do when she goes to NBC. Because if I'm NBC,
that's what I'm doing the next time I negotiate with Red Hot Tim Scott.
There you go.
Winner. I'm talking strong numbers,
Tim.
Tim.
When I come in, I'm talking strong numbers. Okay, strong numbers.
When NBC calls Caitlin Clark after they realize that her and Angel Reese just had the highest viewed WNBA game in 23 years. Because if I'm NBC, I'm bringing her in to be an analyst here. Right, like if she's not going to be on the team, you're going to be on the coverage, so people will at least come and watch.
Great
I'm
idea.
Caitlin Clark. I walk in and say, NBC, I'm talking strong numbers, like double whatever I'm making here in the W. You're going to make that. I'm going to make that for these 3 weeks because they left me off, so I'm going to cash in. The attention, the rocket ship that had been Caitlin Clark all throughout college, continuing, and damn, people wanted to see that rematch, John, of the LSU Iowa days with her and Angel Reese this past weekend.
And they got that, but they got Caitlin Clark winning, which, you know, has not happened a lot for the Fever so far this year. And this is the WNBA's hope. This is their hope, is to get into the national audience. And to some extent, it's been the WNBA. Because Caitlin Clark is, you know, it's what the markets want to put up there. It's what they want to do. She's a special, you know, attribute. She has different sets of skills. And, you know, I also hate to say it this way. She's a little better behind the microphone than some of the other athletes that are out there trying to promote the game. And that helps too. And I understand you have a platform and you want to say what you want to say and how you want to say it. And I support individuality. But you got to understand, it's not the acquired taste for the masses generally. And Caitlin Clark turns out she is.
I think deep down, she's going to be happy to get a little time off, though. I mean, she's been
kind of, it is probably a good thing for her. Like you go from, she got done with the final in college, got drafted, 4 days later? And then was playing in a WNBA game like 10 days later. Like it probably would benefit. I mean, we talk about it in the NFL all the time with how long this process is for draftees. Now, granted, they still get their 5 weeks off here before training camp starts up. But I mean, there was no off season for her. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing to give her 3 weeks to be able to get her body right, John, and push forward. And maybe we see a better version throughout. But I mean, I want the Indiana Fever to be decent just because it makes it a whole lot easier when we're talking about it to play in. But these teams I saw, like Carter from First Take, she was like, listen, they're in a mid-off. They're both right there in the middle of the league, under 500. But people are going to watch that much of an under 500 team. They didn't care about the records going in. They cared about those two and then got the physical altercation that they ultimately probably wanted at the end of it. Wanted to see those two be feisty with each other. And you got the moment with the flagrant foul there over the top on the layup.
And I think for the W, it's got to go like this. They got to hope that Caitlin Clark didn't already hit her pinnacle, didn't already hit her peak of what she can do. And there's a lot to say. She's just a rookie, that she's going to get much better. But when you compare her size to the WNBA as opposed to college, it's a little different. When you compare her speed to the WNBA to what it was in college, it's a little different. Now, we know she can shoot the lights out of a gym, but it's going to be harder to get those shots with all that attention. The WNBA needs her and the Fever to do well so they can really take advantage of this, let's just call it fame, stardom that they have right now. And they need to make sure that in the meantime, they don't mess it up before they get there and capitalize on it. I saw somewhere viewership is up threefold in the WNBA this year versus any of their greatest years. Attendance is up threefold, greater than any of their best years. But you know what's not up? You know what's down? The revenue. They're set to lose a record-breaking amount this year. They're on pace to do that. So how long can that sustain? How long can that last?
No, but
as a business, it doesn't look too good in that end.
Well, that part's true, but those things follow, don't they? I mean, if attendance or viewership is consistently up, then the next CBA, the next TV, right? They can figure negotiation should help them. So those things kind of come with time, right? If you can put butts in the seats.
And I do think they're coming
the
up on negotiations here within the next couple of years.
So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they can get a TV deal going that's going to be worth more, at least in their last one, and then start to cut those margins a little bit, right? Because they're on Ion right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have Ion. I'd love to watch more games, but I don't have Ion. So that's
like telling me to find the CW to watch Live Golf. It's probably just not going to happen. Speaking of rights being lost by TNT, did you guys see Barkley's announcement where he just threw it in on NBA TV?
Yeah.
That he's just going to be done? Are we really buying that?
Make me cry, man.
Are we really buying that he's just going to be done, John, after next year?
I don't know. How many times did you buy Brett Favre's He's Done?
The first one, he had me hook, line, and sinker, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I believed it so much when he's sitting up there crying at the.
Oh yeah, well, we were younger too. But there was another clip that surfaced of him saying in '93 he was going to retire from basketball after that year, and he played 7 more years. And I was like, that's a good point. So who knows? But he has talked about this in the past. He doesn't want to work too late in his life. I get it, but I hope he stays. Just selfishly.
He is the biggest sports television star in the world right now. And you're going to walk away from it? I mean, congratulations if you can. It's a lot more willpower than I have if they're throwing that kind of money that he's going to have thrown at him to say no. That's going to be really, 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 really tough. All right, 414-799-1973. Not as much love for this on the talking text line as I expected. Dano the Mano. The country version of that song is truly disturbing. Yuck.
Not disturbing. It disturbs you? What
Triple A
disturbing.
Triple A Dante. Blasphemy. Damn, can't we keep anything? This is trash. Man, I did not realize that.
I don't think it's that bad.
Sequels are never as good as the original, but
it grows on you.
It grows on you, man.
Yeah, especially
we'll have Dante. We will have Triple A doing a country line dance to this at Nooner Day. I almost guarantee it. Almost guarantee it.
You always say electric things happen at Nooner Day. If you have not gotten your tickets, midnight tomorrow, the final moment to be able to. $14 gets you a ticket inside our special Nooner Day section. 9, the number 2 noon on Twitter, at Bill Schmidt Radio, at KoonJ30, at Armin Sarian, and also 973thegame.com/9-2-noon to get the link to get tickets. Got to do it today or tomorrow or before they sell out, because they will sell out. We've extended this deadline for you to be there. Make sure you don't miss it next week. A week from tomorrow, it's Nooner Day 5. It's 9 to noon. Our closing ceremonies are right after this on the Game. That's Charles Barkley after game 4 of the NBA Finals on NBA TV. Little set that he pops up as a guest during the NBA Finals after TNT ends it. So much noise around. I don't think it's outrageous to say he is the most famous. He is the biggest television star in sports commentary that there is right now. And he's saying he's going to walk away after 25 years next year, regardless of the situation. John, I hear him saying, I don't want anybody calling me. Quit calling me about it. But maybe in like 3 or 4 months, call me and see if the number gets a little bit bigger, and then maybe we can talk. Like I'm not saying Barkley's a liar. I just think it's going to be really, really hard to turn down some of that money when you're him right now.
Why?
Because he's bad at gambling, and he's the biggest star in television sports. Like that's to me is hard to just say, yeah, I'm going to be good.
I don't think he's going to stop because an NBA season, like an NFL season, is a long season. And when you get finished that stretch of games and all those commitments and all that work that you do, you get that free time and you say, this is nice. This feels good. But then once it gets creeping along and you get through summer's so glorious. He probably has a lot of golf scheduled,
tons of
golf
it. Yep.
Trips scheduled, probably has a match somewhere that's going to be televised where he's either talking during or playing in himself. And then he'll get to the end of summer and the start in the football season. And then as summer goes away and it turns into fall, he's going to be like, man, this is normally when we start getting ready to call some basketball games. And then he sees some hot takes by Stephen A. Smith or whoever else is calling basketball games at the time. He's like, nah, man, I don't agree with any of that bull jive. I need to go on there and really set the record straight. And that's when Charles will say, oh man, I really should be back in this thing. I'll be back. I agree with you. I think he's back. I bet he's back with TNT because I think he sounds, legitimate when he says these things about being and keeping the team together. I think they got too great of a thing to break that up. And even if he is thinking about being done, walking away, man, that absence from those things can really make the heart grow fond.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it is like the season comes around and you get that itch again. If they don't have rights, I struggle to think TNT's doing that show, right? Like I don't see them randomly just on every Tuesday or Thursday night without the rights being like, oh, we're still going to have Inside the NBA. But Amazon already works with NBC. Like it just makes too much sense for NBC to be like, listen, we want you to do well too. We're going to help you guys out. We're going to make it, put the money in front of somebody. Let them do the show out of Atlanta. You can lease the studio, what have you. There's too many ways for them not to be on television, for them to not be on TV.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier for him if somehow.
It's crazy
TNT
when business gets in the way of good television.
I don't think he maybe to have a whole new work environment and family. Not sure if it would be, but Charles always strikes me as a guy that although he likes money and likes making money, doesn't feel like it's the only thing that's important to him. And I feel like he feels right now his time isn't as important to him as the money if he feels he has enough. That may change, but I think that's how he looks at it because he's mentioned in the past, even before contract rights for the network came up, that he doesn't want to be on TV forever. So I don't know. Maybe he'll change his mind. You're right. He likes making it. He likes having it and likes spending it when he wants to. He also does a lot of philanthropy, but maybe he has enough. Maybe he just feels like my time is more important. I'm not going to waste my best years working.
Well, that's fair.
Because he does say this is work. We watch more basketball than everybody. I mean, we like doing it, but it's work. Yeah.
It is work.
Yeah.
It is work. And at the end of that season, that work feels oof, but then you get that break.
Sure.
You know how it is, just taking a long weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
You come back and you're like, man, I kind of miss getting on here and chopping it up. I think he will too. And didn't you tell me Charles said he was going to retire what year from basketball?
He did in 93. There was a clip that came around that said he was going to retire that year, and he played like 7
after
more
the
years.
finals.
It was during that year, maybe it was during the finals. I don't know, but he played like 7 more years.
Damn. Well, listen, we get 7 more years of Barkley on television. We'll be happy
blessed.
for it.
Yes.
That's our Quick Trip takeaway of the day, brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Don't cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip, pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal you might even find. And you will find the spicy chicken sandwich, which John Kuhn said Quick Trip is the only one that has it dialed in. The fastest food that you go up and grab. No drive-through. The easiest. Best tasting.
Best prices.
Ding, 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 ding. Quick Trip.
Happiest people that take your money.
Yeah, well, and thank you. And do it with a smile. And then say
actual
see you next
people,
time.
actual people that take your money.
Yeah, not stupid AI messing it up and saying, could you repeat that? Could you repeat that? What we repeat is this radio program tomorrow at 9, and we'll try to be better on a Wednesday. The Mike Heller Show's next. For Kuhn, I'm Billy. Armin Sarian, back today. Great work. Welcome back. We'll be back in the saddle tomorrow on a Wednesday, wide open, 9 to noon on the game.